Hello, future CAs. For many CA students to become a future CA, one topic in law that creates unnecessary stress in other laws is this chapter, Interpretation of Statutes. I want you to spend only 3 minutes now to decide if you have to watch this 3 hours video where I'm going to teach you with full concept and you're going to enjoy this chapter, Interpretation of Statutes, and then you decide if you want to skip because my friends told this chapter is difficult, sir, I'm going to skip. You decide not in the next 3 hours, next 3 minutes I will give you full conceptual clarity, guys. Before that, one small cutie story. When I was a student, the first topic that I ever taught as a teacher to my fellow friends was this chapter, Interpretation of Statutes. How did it happen, sir? As students, Chennai Sikasa took all of us to Kodaikanal for a residential seminar for 2 days. They said Saturday and Sunday, one day sightseeing in Kodaikanal, and second day conference where faculties will take some topics. Fortunately or unfortunately, what happened? The faculty who was supposed to come to Kodaikanal to take conference for us missed the train. So both days we got sightseeing. Then the student committee told, Ayo, if we do both days sightseeing, after we go back to Chennai, ICA will question us. So they told, at least for 2 hours, let us have a small conference where students will teach other students some topics, and they picked me, and I only had a few hours to prepare. And those days, since I was doing my CS, this topic was important in my company secretary course. So I taught everybody Interpretation of Statutes. That is when I enjoyed teaching, and that is when I learned and loved law. Sir, what is this topic, sir? The 3 minutes starts only now, guys, before I told one story. So next 3 minutes you watch and decide if you're going to skip this topic or watch 3 hours of iOS and grab yourself 8 marks in exam. Sir, what is this Interpretation of Statutes? The law or this chapter starts off with the word interpretation versus construction. This chapter is going to teach you how to read law. Let me give an example. If I am the lawmaker, interpretation means what the lawmaker, I am the one who wrote the law, I am the one who drafted the law, what lawmaker wanted you to understand. That is interpretation. Construction is what you, the student or the person reading the law, what you actually understood. Sir, onnume puriyala sir. Give an example to understand this. Example that you will understand. Example is only for classroom purpose, guys. Don't show some hate towards me. Let's say Aishwarya Rai sent a message to Salman Khan in WhatsApp saying, don't message me. So she is the one who drafted this message, and her interpretation, what she wanted Salman Khan to understand is, don't message me. What Salman Khan understood this as, he thought, okay, if the girl is messaging don't message me, it means okay. It means okay, I have to message now. I have to message now. So Salman Khan is saying, if the word don't message is used, that means I have to message. That is how I interpret, sir. So if my girlfriend is saying, don't message, I will message her on every platform. Google Pay also I will message. That is not what she meant. What she meant in interpretation when she sent don't message, you were supposed to understand as don't message. But what you actually understood, you understood as you have to message. Are you getting the clarity now? That means if the law is drafted well, what was supposed to be understood, that only you will also understand. So this chapter iOS teaches us how to read law and understand it better whenever there are conflicts. There are so many rules, guys. So you have to experience 3 hours of conceptual learning of iOS, where I will teach you how to learn this chapter, highlighting keywords with our material which is aligned with the ICAI study mat only. That is about it, guys. Let's experience law for 3 hours and crack this chapter. But before that, guys, for those who are interested, because I'm only giving few chapters here, Of course, don't expect me to give full syllabus on YouTube, guys. I can give 3 to 4 chapters. For those who want the full class, only for those who want, sir, I want only advanced accounting or only law, I'm giving it a very nominal price of just 4,000 rupees for the subject. Sir, I want combo of your advanced accounts and law both together, then you have to pay only 6,000 rupees for both the subjects, guys. This is available in our website itself, caclassroom.com. You can buy subject wise all subjects along with accounts and law, whichever you want, or we have combos, accounts and law combo only or audit and SM combo at affordable, most affordable prices. Now let's go and experience interpretation of statutes for the next 3 hours. Let me know in the comments after you watch for the full 3 hours. Now are you actually going to skip this chapter, or you will actually study this chapter and guarantee yourself 8 marks in the exam, guys. 6 to 8 marks depends on the attempt. That's about it, guys. Enjoy the lectures. Thank you. Hi guys, so we are in our law class. In other laws, we are going to start a new chapter today called iOS, not Android or Apple iOS. We are talking about interpretation of statutes. So from now, when you hear the word iOS, you should remember what, guys? Interpretation of statutes. Okay. One of my favorite topics to teach, and one of the topics with which I started teaching as a student itself in one CA students conference somewhere. I had to take a class for some students. I took this topic. I'll tell that story a different day. It's an interesting story. But this is the topic. It's a beautiful topic. Let me give a simple example. What is interpretation of statutes? It's not an act. There is no section numbers, like unlike General Clause Act or Companies Act or FEMA. We don't have section numbers here. This is basically a guide as to how to read law. How you should read law. This is the guide. Interpreting statute. It's a beautiful, what to say, piece of legislation that we have. Let me give an example for you to first understand what is there in this. Everybody already knows Companies Act, correct? You know Companies Act. Now, in Companies Act, let's say in foundation or inter, you would have studied a case law called Solomon versus Solomon, correct? Everybody studied. Now my question is, when I go to Indian court for discussing for a case, I will give a reference to other cases. Can I use foreign country case laws in Indian court? Then why I am using Solomon versus Solomon? I can use. Are you following, guys? Just now I told Solomon versus Solomon, you all learned that. So can I use foreign case law in Indian law? How can I use or not? This law will give background. Okay. Let me give another example for which you will get more clarity. Income Tax Act tells, if you studied Income Tax Act, income from other sources, income on gift on the occasion of marriage is exempt. This is the provision everybody studied in income tax. Correct? Now, Rahul is asking doubt. Sir, if I marry 5 times, sir, then on 5 times marriage gift exempt is a doubt. Is it there in income tax? Do we have answer for this? Did you ask in income tax class? Yes. Answer is yes or no? No, legally he got married 5 times. Marriage, divorce, 5 times. Is it exempt, guys? So like this, we are going to learn how do you interpret law. Or, sir, what sir, I got married only once, one marriage, but on marriage I got 200 crores of gift. Exempt. All the black money I deposited today in gift box and I told I got 200 crores. Convert to white, guys, no tax. Yes, marriage. Can I say, is it exempt? No. Answer. Exempt, 200 crores. Are you following? So, interpretation of statutes tells how to interpret law. Let me give another example before even we get into the subject. Now, today we have an act which says, or we have an act Can minors be hanged to death? Can minor be arrested and hanged to death, guys? No. As per law, you should not. What, minor will be arrested, but you can't put. I'm talking about hanging to death. Death imprisonment is not there for minors. Correct? But there was an act. Now there is an act called Nirbhaya Act. The Nirbhaya Act says any juvenile in the age of 16 to 18 will be hanged to death. They were hanged to death. Correct? Now, imagine if in the year 2050, we have an act called Nirbhaya Act. Let's fast forward 25 years. In 25 years, if somebody sees this act, they will tell, hey, what is this? People in the past didn't have minds or what? How can you hang a minor? You will get doubt. But only we know why this act came, because when that incident happened, the whole country went on protest. So this law came into force. Correct? So when you read a law, don't only read the law, understand the background as to why that law came. Are you able to follow, guys? Like that, how to read a law only we have in this chapter called Interpretation of Statutes. This chapter is broken down into 3 buckets, guys. First bucket is rules of interpretation. What are few basic rules of interpretation? Next is aids of interpretation. Aids of interpretation means help. When I am reading a law, what help I can take? For example, look at this. Foreign case law. I told foreign case law. Can I use foreign case law? Ashwin is asking, sir, to understand a meaning or a term in law, can I use Oxford Dictionary for meaning of a term? Like that, this law will tell, can I use dictionary definition? Historical background, setting. Nirbhaya Act came because of an incident which happened in the past. Learn the history why the law came. Are you following, guys? And then you have something called interpretation of deeds and documents, which I will do in the last. So chapter is simple. In this chapter, either case study can come very rarely or straightforward question. Only 3 buckets. Rules of interpretation, aids of interpretation, interpretation of deeds and documents. Aids means help. Help of interpretation, we have internal aids and external aids. That's it. And rules, we have primary rules and secondary. This is the structure of the chapter. Are you following, guys? Understanding? But before I go to the chapter, we need to understand what is the meaning of the word interpretation, and they give a word in the book versus construction versus interpretation of a statute. Are you able to understand, guys? Okay. Now, I'll give a simplest example to understand this. Your mom or dad or anybody in your house, elderly people with whom you are staying, sent you a message, come home. The message was in WhatsApp, come home by 10 p.m. You got it this time. Assume you're watching the class in the daytime. If somebody is watching the class night, means assume you're watching in the morning. When you left the house, parents send this message, come home by 10 p.m. Okay. What is the meaning of this? Come home by 10 p.m. But looking at this, let's say Murugan came home at 9 p.m. only, but he came next day 9 p.m. Are you following? He came next day 9 p.m. he came. Now, your parents wanted you to come home by 9 p.m. That is how they interpreted this when they sent to you. But when you understood as 9 p.m. next day. That means what parents should have done? They should have told, come home by 10 p.m. today. The word today is missing. So, I am thinking 10 p.m. any day. Are you following, guys? So, when a law is made, the lawmaker, I am talking about lawmaker means the one who typed the law, who wrote the law, the draft person who made the draft, the lawmaker would have wanted you to understand something. Your mom, when she sent a message, would have wanted you to understand something. That is called interpretation. What I wanted you to interpret. But what you actually understood is what? Construction. Ideally, both should be same. If both are same, then lawmaker did a good job. You frame the law properly. That means your parents correctly, they know about you, so they wrote, come home by 10 p.m. today. That means the law is good, where what I wanted you to understand and what you understood is the same. What I wanted you to understand is interpretation. What you understood is how you are understanding construction. Following, guys. Case laws come because there is a difference here. Now go back to this example, gift. My understanding is genuinely people get married once, then they get gift of few lakhs per marriage. That is how I wrote the provision. But you understood as a converting black to white, 200 crores. So when this conflict comes, where will you go to conflict? If conflict comes, court. Now court will read the law using interpretation of statutes. They will apply, the court will apply these rules and give a decision. Are you following now, guys? So this tells, interpretation of statutes basically says guidance as to how you have to read and understand law in its actual sense. Earlier I used to take this as first chapter, but without even learning Companies Act, FEMA or anything, how will you learn this? That's why we finished one significant portion of Companies Act, almost half, and then only I am teaching you interpretation of statutes, so that we will have real examples I can connect with Companies Act. So now let's go to rules. In today's rules, don't expect me to go in the order. I will go in whatever way I want in random order. Okay. So I will take an example. This is going to be different. I will take an example. You will understand. Then I will tell this only is this. Are you able to follow, guys? Clear? So you understood structure. First example. I wrote the word plant and machinery. Can I say plant means near my house I have a rose plant, sir. It's rose plant. Huh? Why? Can I say it's rose plant? What is it? Here the meaning of plant is what? Capex, mission, that plant and machinery, correct? Huh? That means, but the word plant, if I write separately, what is the meaning of plant? Rose plant, this tulsi plant, this plant, that plant, correct? Huh? That means when two words are written together, associated to each other with the word and, then you have to read both the words together and interpret them together. Don't read it separately and make different meaning. For example, we have, apart from plant and machinery, they will say trade, profession and occupation. Separately they might have a different meaning, but read together it means they are doing a business, either trade, profession, occupation. Are you following, guys? Read them together. This rule is called doctrine of nositar a sources. Don't worry, we don't have viva in CA yet. We don't have viva. They will not ask you to give spelling test. No, is not there. Pronunciation we don't have. So if you are not able to do it, it's fine. It's called doctrine of nositar a sources, which the rule says secondary. These are all Latin rules. We're going to see a lot of rules here. So the rule says in exam what they will ask, sir. They will ask you in exam, what is doctrine of nositar a sources? 4-mark question. Or they will ask you, what is rule of associated words, plant and machinery? How I gave notes in this thing is, this square or rectangle, whatever it is not mine. Copy, paste it from ICA study mat with small modifications here and there. Down, can you see a circle? Simple words is back. Simple words we saw in General Class Act also. Correct? Simple words. So, first, what is rule of nositar a sources? Look at this. Nositar a sources means when two or more words, plant and machinery, are susceptible or analogous meaning, are coupled together. Now you will understand. Associated together, they are to be understood in their cognate sense. That means read together. They take as if it were their color from each other. Plant takes its color from machinery, machinery takes its color from plant. The meaning, when I say color means don't tell sir black pen now, no. The meaning, okay. That is the meaning of more of general words being restricted to sense analogous of less general. It's plant can have more general meaning. Make it more specific for plant and machinery. Here I gave an example. Look at this. Commercial establishment means establishment which carries on business, trade or profession. Here, commercial establishment, this word of, look at this, I'll tell you the actual example of this. This business, trade and profession is used in an act called Factories Act. They define commercial establishment as business, trade, profession. Now, can I say here profession includes doctor? Can I include doctor as profession, guys? No. Normally, doctor is a profession. But when I use the word business, trade or profession for a commercial establishment in Factories Act, I can't say it's a doctor because there the meaning is factories. Are you understanding, guys? So the word doctor is not part of the definition. Sir, simple words I want to know. In simple words, where two or more words are associated with each other, read them together to give a combined meaning instead of individual meaning. Are you understanding, guys? He's asking, sir, which one to write in exam, sir? Simple words are, should I write this up? Exam, you need to take the keywords from here. Because that's only there in material. This is to understand. Doctrine of non-sector resources. When you will use simple words, when case study question comes, for you to apply the concept, that time you will do this. Are you following, guys? This is rule of doctrine of non-sector sources. Are you following, guys? Next. Interesting or boring, guys? Interesting. Next, super. Okay, next one. In Foundation Contract Act, do you remember race horse was 500 rupees, one thing we learnt of. Price, skill and competition, limit of 1000. Do you remember? More than 500,000. Or leave that. If I am not a CA, let's say Vignesh is not a CA, but I am acting like a CA. I am putting CA badge. In the car, I put CA sticker. In my profile, in Facebook, I put CA. Or Instagram, I put CA. Okay. Okay. And I am also doing, I am having business card. I am a CA. Can I do that? As a CA student, can you tell you are a CA? If you do that, what will happen? Penalty. The penalty is rupees 1000. Penalty is 1000 if you are not a CA and if you act like a CA. Sir, what, sir? 1000 rupees only. Racehorse, 500. Prize, and they used to say any prize and competition that you win which is more than 1000 used to be a wager. 1000 is so small, sir. Today, even in my apartment competition, I get 2000 rupees as gift. Why is it so small? When was the act made? Contract Act? 18. In 1872, 1000 was a huge amount. In 1872, for racehorse, 500 was a huge amount. But what happened? They did not amend it till now. Are you following, guys? So then why, sir, for CA, it is 1000 rupees. This law was made in 1949 or something. When was CA Act coming, guys? I forgot the year. I'm very sorry. 1949 only. Okay, it may be wrong. I'm not sure, guys, but leave it. So, in that year, they told, if I am not a CA and if I am acting as if I am a CA, my penalty is how much, guys? 1000. This doctrine is saying, when you read a law and when you see numbers in the law, amount, penalty, try to understand in the period when the law was made, then it will make sense to you. Oh, that time 1000 rupees is a big amount. Are you following, guys? Today, don't think you can go and tell you are a CA. This is now amended. Just 2 years back, they amended this to 10 lakhs. Okay. So, anybody watching the class thinking, sir, I will go now, sir. Now, if you are not a CA, if you act like a CA, penalty is 10 lakhs. Now, it's amended. Okay. So, that's why I gave the example first and then now I'm clarifying, guys. Don't blame me tomorrow if you get 10 lakhs penalty to your house. This principle is called, what I just told you, learn a law with the time when it's made, doctrine of contemporaneo exposito. It's called doctrine of contemporaneo exposito. No viva, so don't have to worry. Look at the law, guys. It says, The words in this will be more very like Shakespeare law. That time it was made. Look at this. This doctrine is based on the concept that a statute or a document is to be interpreted by referring to the exposure it has received from the contemporary authority. This means law should be understood in the sense when it was understood at the time when it was passed. Then only you will understand. Sir, can you give me a practical Companies Act example? I'll give you a beautiful example. Section 46 is what? Share certificate. Share certificate says signing is section. Common seal you have to put or you have to sign. Today it's not mandatory. Why? DMAT. Because of DMAT, no need to have common seal. Correct? No need to have common seal because of DMAT. But still we have section. Many students ask me, sir, what's our still seal signer? Today we are in technology. Understand the time when the law was made. 1956 Companies Act, then 2013. Are you following? Execution of negotiable instruments. Section 22. Sir, nobody is issuing bills of exchange today, sir. Why we have this in Companies Act and wasting my time? Understand when the law was made. Doctrine of contemporaneo exposito. Vignesh asked, sir, why we have branch accounts, sir, in syllabus? Doctrine of contemporaneo exposito. When that was included in syllabus, it was relevant. Are you following? Yes. His question, beautiful question. Sir, they won't amend us, sir. This penalty of 1000 for CA was in 19. It got amended, if I remember right, roughly around 2022 only amendment happened. That means for 50 years, penalty was 1000 only. They didn't amend. Are you following? Why, sir? Slow. Are you studying very fast? Slowly. Recording you are watching after giving it, now you are watching us today's topic when you are studying after 1 month. Why? Like that only government also slowly they are amending. Are you following? Okay. Understanding, guys. So remember that this maxim is to be applied for construing ancient statutes, but not that are comparatively modern. Latest acts, LLP Act 2008, GST Act. I won't use this because now we should, it's current period, not ancient. When I say ancient means don't tell 1000 years, sir. 100 years like that. Okay. Same way, one more section. Remember section 56 of Companies Act, transfer of securities, physical transfer, we got transfer deed, all of that. But today it's not practically applicable. We have DMAT, but it's still part of provision because that time it was relevant. That's it. Sir, simple words I want. This maxim gives the importance to the economic situation and environmental condition that existed at the time the law was passed when you are understanding the law. Such provision might not make sense practically today, but it was relevant when the law was made. Are you following, guys? Everybody understanding? So if I come back now, in our structure, we have completed what, guys? Secondary rules are done. What are my secondary rules, guys? Doctrine of Nosictare Socis, doctrine of Contemporaneo Exposito. Clear? Everybody understanding, guys? Now I will come to this internal aids a little later. Let me come to primary rules. Okay. I am going to write a statement and you will tell me the meaning of it. Grammar, convert to English for me. Today's class will end at 4:30 p.m. What is the meaning of this, guys? Today's class will end at 4:30 p.m. Now, if Vignesh is asking me doubt, sir, I have a doubt, sir. Class will end at 4:30 or 4:45? Is there a doubt in this, first of all? No doubt. That means when something is written and it is very clearly you are able to understand over there, that means understand what is given there. Friend is messaging. Don't message or call me. Please don't disturb me. Your friend is messaging you. Can you call them after that? Can you call them, guys? How many times your friends or anybody will message you? Don't disturb me, please. Don't call me. Don't message me. After that also your messaging means what? What means what? That means you wouldn't understand that message. You didn't understand that message. Are you following, guys? So this is called doctrine of literal construction. Doctrine of literal construction. It says rule of literal construction. It says when something is so clearly mentioned, if anybody reading that will understand, don't try to give a second opinion or think, sir, what sir, 4:30 or 4:45? Oh, don't message. Something is hidden. Don't message means message. Secret language. No. Look at this. It is in law. Now let's go to law. I will give, sir, I want law example. Dividend rules. Dividend rule says, rule 1, section 123, rule 3. I will use the rules. What are the rules saying? Average rate of dividend shall not exceed the average dividend declared in the last 3 years. We learned this in the first class in dividend. Is there anything confusing about that? No. What I will do? Average of last 3 years. Now read this. It is the cardinal rule of construction that a statute, that means law, must be understood, construction, literally and grammatically, giving the words their ordinary and natural meaning. So when law is clear, that means interpretation and construction will match. Look at this. The language used in the statute must be constructed in its grammatical sense. The correct course is to take the words themselves and if arrive at conclusion at their meaning without reference to cases in the first case. That means when there is no confusion, don't confuse anything. Don't write this in exam. If things are clear, let's look at this in simple words. This is the primary rule, duty of the court to interpret the words used in legislation according to their keyword. This only is keyword. According to their ordinary grammatical meaning in absence of any ambiguity or doubt. So dividend provision, I don't have any doubt. Provide that. Private companies, the company where number of members should not exceed 200. Is there any doubt in that, guys? No. Then follow that. Don't ask 202 or 105. Are you able to follow? Understanding? So when you read what you understand, that only is the meaning. When you will have doubt, when there is a confusion. When there is a confusion. Where there is confusion? That gift example I told in the start of the class. Where, why I got confusion? When the lawmaker made the law in 1961, Income Tax Act, he thought you will marry only once. Because that time, marriage means once. Divorce was not a common thing in 1961. But today it's a very common thing. I'm not saying divorce is wrong, guys. Each person subjective, it's each person choice. That's it. You can't say it's wrong. Hey, it's divorce. Look at this person. No, you should never say that. Very important, guys. If somebody is going through a divorce, respect their decision. You don't tell, hey, don't judge that person. This fellow is not good for society. You are not good for society if you are judging them like that. Okay. Now, so in 1961, that was the mindset. Are you following, guys? Okay. This is the rule of literal construction. That is the first rule. Are you following, guys? Sir, in exam, sir, I'm understanding what you are saying, sir. But exam, how they will test this, sir? Anybody has the doubt? Past exam question, 4-mark question. What is rule of literal construction? 4 marks. This only is question. No, I'm not joking. That's the question. Or 3 marks. What is rule of literal construction? Or what is doctrine of non sectarian sources? 3 marks. Or in MCQ he will ask. He will give a provision, plant and machinery. He will explain a concept. This is which rule? Rule of literal construction, doctrine of this, pick the one. So you learn concept and memorize the keywords. Are you following, guys? Now only coming to the beautiful rule. This is called golden rule of construction, or second rule, rule of reasonable construction. This only is the beautiful rule, guys. Like this is the rule, or this is where everybody plays around with the law, loophole. This only. Court will basically deviate, meaning when the words are not clear, when there is a confusion that is there, when confusion in law we will use it as ambiguous. If there is an ambiguity in provision, classic example I will take Income Tax Act gift, guys. Still you don't have an answer. If I ask you, sir, I received 100 crores as gift on my marriage, so tax exempt? No, sir. Now there is a confusion because my interpretation when I wrote the law was genuine gift only is exempt. You are trying to convert black money to white money. So what court will do? Now the court will deviate from the law. They will deviate from the law to understand in the true sense how law should have been understood. When I made the law, my interpretation or my intention was actual gift of marriage. You interpreted like whatever black money I will convert as massive, I got gift from father, I will write. No, that was not my interpretation. So court will deviate and they will take a decision for the spirit of the law, giving the truest spirit of the law. Are you following, guys? Understanding? This is like spirit of game, spirit of cricket. Play for the spirit, not for by law. I will deviate from the law and go on spirit. Are you understanding, guys? Okay. So I'll give you more examples. Look at this. It's like saying in cricket, mankading, Ashwin will do that run out. It is as per law, but is it within the spirit of the game? It's subjective for each person who does. So court will tell, they will go for the spirit, what was the intention of the lawmaker, and they will decide. Are you following, guys? That run out, the intention is half centimeter, 1 centimeter you come out means it's okay. You can't run out. If somebody is going 2 feet, then only I will run out. Sir, half step I came, it was not intentional. You can't run them out. Whatever justification, Indian team, whatever it is, spirit of the game, little bit if I come front means it was unintentional because I'm used to moving out. When I can run you out, sir, I ran half the pitch, then you hit them. Then I can use it. Sir, last ball of the match, then I can use that. Not in the first ball of the match, go and hit the ball a wicket. No. Are you following, guys? That same principle. Rule of golden construction, golden rule. Generally, the words of phrases of a statute are to be given in their ordinary meaning. It is only when the words of an enactment are capable of two constructions, gift, I can take this way or that way, then court will choose the way which was the intention of the lawmaker. That there is scope for interpretation of construction, then the interpretation which furthers the object, which furthers the purpose, can be preferred to the one which defeats or impairs the policy or the object. Are you following, guys? In simple words, where grammatical interpretation, rule of literal construction leads to certain absurdity, it is permissible to depart from that and to interpret the provision of a statute in a manner so as to avoid absurdity. Are you following, guys? This departure from grammatical construction is permissible only to the extent it avoids an absurdity and no further. The court are allowed to deviate in these cases. Are you able to follow, guys? So I am making a statement. Tell me if it's true or false. Rule of reasonable construction is applicable only when rule of literal construction fails. Yes or no? I will again repeat. Rule of reasonable construction is applicable only if rule of literal construction fails. True or false? Yes. I can deviate from the grammatical meaning only when the grammatical meaning does not make sense or it leads to multiple meanings. Are you understanding, guys? So when you have multiple meanings going this side or that side, what I should do? Take the side which is the intention of the lawmaker. Meaning, simple example, let's go back to Murugan got a message from parents. Come home by 10 p.m. We discussed the same thing, correct? Murugan come which day? Next day. So that this, I can interpret this in two ways. Come home today, come home tomorrow. Now those who are watching the class, you are the judge. Which meaning will you give this? Today or tomorrow? What interpretation you will take? So literal construction is not clear because the word today is missing. So I am deviating from rule of literal construction grammatical meaning. Reasonable construction I will say today because my intention of the person who typed it was what? Today. Are you following rule of reasonable construction, guys? Same thing applicable for gift. Now gift actual answer is in income tax case law, decided case law, you only told me the answer. If somebody is having multiple weddings, like you said, if it's a legally plus registered wedding, then the gift is exempt, deviating from provision, court told this. Or, sir, only one wedding, sir. Then, if I got 100 crores, court will ask for evidence. Who gave you 100 crores for your wedding? Who is that fellow? I want to see him. Court will ask you to produce him. Then you will tell, I don't know, sir. One gift box was given. Somebody came and kept and went. They didn't write from videos there, no? Show me the video of the wedding. Court will ask name of the person who gave it because court knows you are trying to take benefit of the law. Are you understanding, guys? So court can deviate. Are you following, guys? These are the first two rules. Oh, sorry, I went off to, yeah. So we are done with secondary rules fully. And we are also done with rule of literal construction and rule of reasonable construction. Are you all with me, guys? Hello, easy or difficult, guys? Can we continue for a few more rules? What if in case of kind, same thing. Kind also find the, his question is, sir, instead of giving 100 crores, I got land worth 100 crores. Kind. Find the fair value of that. That's it. Kind means find the fair value. Understanding? Next question, guys. Next one. Okay. Let's take. Do you want to continue with rules or go to some internal aids and external aids? See, anyway, this chapter is like this. So, okay, let's do one more rule. Rule of harmonious construction. Okay, let me give a simple example. Rule of harmonious construction. Totally, we learned 5 rules today. Quickly, guys. First, this chapter is broken down into 3 parts. Repeat with me. First part is rules of construction. Second, aids of construction. Third, interpretation of deeds and documents. In rules, you have primary and secondary. In aids, you have internal and external. In rules, we finished secondary rules. What is secondary rules? Doctrine of Nosictare sources, and next one, second. Come on, guys. Entrepreneur exposito. Recording, I hope you heard that. You also repeat in your house. Nobody is going to listen to you. Okay. In primary rules, we have first the rule of literal construction. Second, reasonable construction or golden rule. In exam, sometimes he will ask what is reasonable construction, 4 marks. Sometimes he will ask what is golden rule, 4 marks. Are you following, guys? Understanding? Clear? The next one is called rule of harmonious construction. In one example, I will clear this, guys. Murugan got 2 messages today. One from mom, one from dad, guys. Don't think it. Whenever I give a gap, you are thinking of something else. Okay. Murugan got 2 messages. Or you got 2 messages recording. Your parents told, or mom told you, come home by night. Or mom, dad, anybody, guys, any elderly person in the house with whomever you are living. Okay. Come home by 9 p.m. Your dad told, it's okay, come home by 10 p.m. What will you do? Come home by what time? 9 or 10 or? Oh, whichever is earlier. Yes, online I heard whichever is earlier. I want to know who is that. Rahul, yes, correct. Whichever is earlier is correct. That means he's learning law, guys. I would appreciate that. Okay. Now, here, if you come at 9:30, you're obeying one person, not obeying other person. If you come at 10:30, super, you're not obeying both people. So, I need to obey both people. So, I need to come before 9. So, if I come before 9, I'm obeying both. Correct? Now, same principle in law. One section is saying something else. Other section is saying something else. Which to follow? Both to follow. Are you following, guys? In entire Companies Act, if there is going to be a conflict, one section is saying this, one is saying something else. Which one to follow? Follow both. That is called rule of harmonious construction. I will show you examples also, guys. Quickly read this once. Quickly read this first paragraph once. to see if you are understanding. I will show you real life examples from the book. Okay. Okay. I have just brought the Bar Act of Companies Act. This is how the Bar Act of Companies Act looks. 288 pages, totally full. Section 1 to 470. In this chapter, I will show you multiple Bar Acts. Okay. I will take an example, but you may not be able to connect because we may have not done meetings chapter yet. So, in meetings chapter, conducting the annual general meeting, Companies Act tells 3 provisions. AGM should be held within 6 months from end of financial year. Then they are also saying time gap between 2 AGMs should not exceed 15 months, and they also say AGM should be held at least in 1 calendar year. This is in Companies Act in 3 different sections. One section says hold AGM within 6 months from end of financial year. Some other section says 2 AGMs time gap should not be more than 15 months, and they are saying in each calendar year there should be at least 1 AGM. Which to follow? The date you choose for AGM should follow all 3 provisions. That only is rule of harmonious construction. They are saying if there is conflict, try to follow everything. Look at this. But remember, this rule can be adopted only when there is a real and not apparent conflict. Real there should be a conflict, not simply conflict. Where the words of a statute and reasonable construction admit one meaning, then the natural meaning will prevail. The court should not attempt an interpretation based on equity and harmonious construction. I will explain that. Come here. How to understand this? The law uses 3 words called subject to, notwithstanding, without prejudice. I will explain these 3 and I will show you in Bar Act where we have these words. Clear? I will show you practical section numbers where we have that. First we have to learn those 3 terms, correct? What are the 3 terms, guys? Just now we saw subject to, notwithstanding, without prejudice. I am just writing short. Okay. Now let me give a simple example. Now let us say we are now in law class. Okay. Before law class today morning, you had FM class. Okay. FM class was supposed to get over by 9:30 a.m. so that I can start at 10 a.m. I'm just giving examples, guys. Okay. Now I can start law class at 10 a.m. only if FM class gets over at 9:30. Otherwise, I have to wait till the FM class gets over, or sometimes audit class also will get extended to 9:45. Then I have to wait for the next class to start, correct? So that is called subject to. Law class will start at 10 a.m. Those who are watching recording, just connect as if you are an offline class. Law class will start at 10 a.m. subject to the previous class of the previous faculty getting over at 9:30 a.m. When there are 2 sections, use the word subject to. This section will operate subject to the other section. I will show you real examples. Hold on. Next, FM class is supposed to get over at what time? I came at 9:45. Still class is going on. I will open the door. I will tell close the class. Whatever happens, I will start at 10 a.m. Sir, FM class is still going at 10:15. I will come, turn the class off. I will send the faculty out. I will take the class. Notwithstanding means whatever happens, guys. Rain comes off, flood comes off. Old faculty is still taking class. I don't care. 10 a.m. law will start. So far, I have never been able to start sharp on time. That's a different thing. But I'm saying, if I use the message, notwithstanding means whatever happens, I will override everything else. For example, you get two messages. One message says, tomorrow class schedule 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. fasting. I am sending another message. Tomorrow class 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. accounts and law notwithstanding. So if I use the word notwithstanding tomorrow class 7 to 9, then which class tomorrow? Accounts and law. Are you following, guys? So if you use the word notwithstanding means that section will override every other section. Are you following, guys? Now, next, without prejudice, meaning, let's say, accounts class was supposed to start at, or law hours was supposed to start at 10 a.m. 9:30 a.m. FM was supposed to end, but it was still going on. Now, I don't want to affect the FM class, which is group 2. But I don't want to delay my law class also, which is group 1. So I am going to the next classroom and there I started law class. So assuming different set of students are same, so law class is taking place without affecting FM class in parallel. What you will do, I don't know, but I'm just giving example. Okay. So without affecting this, are you understanding, guys? So whenever law uses the word without prejudice, this section will operate in parallel with the other section. Now look at the words. Subject to, then the later will prevail over the former. Notwithstanding means non-obstante clause. I will override all the other provisions. If the law uses the word without prejudice means the particular provision shall operate in addition and not in derogation of the general provisions. Sir, I want practical examples. Definitely we will search, guys. Okay, let's say Control F. If I search first for subject to, there are 100 and in Companies Act alone, guys, 167 cases they have used the word subject to. Let's take a few. Okay, let's take a section. Okay, section 17, guys. Copies of memorandum. We studied of what is this section? Within 7 days, if you make, look what they're asking. Look at this. A company shall, I don't, yeah, draw. Okay, it's working super. A company shall, on being requested so by a member, send to him within 7 days on request, subject to payment of such fees. So only if you pay fees, I will send in 7 days. Just not because you request. See, following subject to. One more example. Section 14, alteration of articles. Subject to the provisions of this act and condition, conversion of private into public company, public into private company, you can do by passing special resolution. Subject to means they are saying, read the other part of the act, then you come here. The section 8 company cannot come and tell, I will convert to private company because section 14 says, read the section 14 subject to the other sections. Now let's go to next one. Okay, are you following it? So practical examples. I can't search 167 words and show you everything now. Okay, next. Notwithstanding, totally in the law we have 98 situations. See, I put Control F where they use notwithstanding. First 29 came. What is 29, guys? DMAT. Come on, you should remember, guys. We finished all these. Okay, DMAT. What is DMAT saying? I told you, whatever happens, you have to convert shares to DMAT. If you want to issue rights shares, you can issue only in DMAT. If you want to give bonus shares, issue only in DMAT. If you want to transfer, you have to do only in. Sir, I have physical. First convert to DMAT and do. I don't know this section of, look at the beauty. It starts with notwithstanding anything contained in other provisions of the act. I don't care what is there anywhere else. I will override every other provision. Are you following, guys? Every company making public offer other class of shares should make it in DMAT form. Section 29 over. Are you following, guys? One more example for. Now are you understanding why I am taking this after Companies Act? So you can connect how to read the law. Next, some other section. 35. Civil liability for everybody knows this, guys. Look how beautifully they are saying. Okay. In 35 we studied whatever happens, the you have to compensate for loss, unlimited liability. Look at this. Notwithstanding anything contained in this section where it is proved that prospectus has been issued with the intention to defraud the applications of the company, then the person will have unlimited, look at this, shall be personally responsible without any limitation of. That means law never uses the word unlimited. It is without any limitation of liability for all losses or damages. Are you following, guys? Understanding notwithstanding of. What is the last one? Without. It came off. Without itself it comes off. Okay. Without prejudice. Totally in the act there are 56 circumstances. Okay. Let's take some other section. Something which you can easily understand. Let me take. Okay. 42. What is 42? Private placement. Look at this. Without affecting the provisions of section 26. What is 26, sir? Contents of prospectus. A company may, again subject to came off. Look at the wordings. So without prejudice, without affecting the provisions of section 26, a company may, subject to the provisions of this section, may make private placement through issue of private placement letter offer. That means if you are, meaning is, if you are doing a private placement, you have to follow section 26. Such an offer should have details which is therein contents of prospectus. So without affecting 26, you do private placement and subject to this section. Look how beautifully law is now being framed. Understanding how to read law, guys. See, I can take a separate law class teaching you how to read law, how to read the law and understand. We are here to get pass in exam, correct? Not to become an advocate. But in the process of passing exam, I am teaching you concepts with the limit of over 100 hours. In this chapter, you are learning how to learn law. Are you following, guys? Okay. Next, any other, 1 second, without prejudice, any other thing, section, let me take some other section which you can connect. Okay, these sections we have, you don't know, okay. Section 25, deemed prospectus, correct? Securities were subscribed for those securities without affecting the liability of persons to whom the offer is made. If there is a misstatement, it's there. They are saying if it's a deemed prospectus without affecting other sections, here you have to pay penalty. So throughout the law, they keep using without prejudice. That's it. I think enough of examples, guys. Coming back over here, rule of harmonious construction. I gave you general examples and I gave you subject example. Are you following? In exam, how it will come? They will ask you, what is rule of harmonious construction? 3 or 4 marks. You will explain this paragraph in your own words with keywords and write all these 3. You have to write what is subject to, notwithstanding, without prejudice. So if these 3 words are coming, the rule is saying read the section as a, read the act as a whole and try to follow the entire act. If there is a conflict, how to resolve the conflict depending upon which term is used, subject to, notwithstanding, without prejudice. Are you following, guys? Everybody understanding, guys? Hello? So what all we have done, guys, so far in this, we are still only in primary and secondary rule. That only is the major chunk, guys. Internal aids and external aids, I will finish like this. Each point is 2 minutes. Interpretation of deeds and documents like this. The heart of this. But exam they ask what is preamble, 2 marks. What is proviso, 2 marks. We will see all that using act itself. So we finished doctrine of, what is it, guys? With me? Repeat. Nasictare. So this is doctrine of contemporary exposito. Then first rule, rule of literal construction, rule of reasonable construction, rule of harmonious construction. Are you all able to follow, guys? Okay. Next rule is rule of Hayden's case. Hayden's rule, not that cricket player Hayden, guys. This is different Hayden. That rule we will see in the next session, because I don't want to dump too much of law into you on one day. But are you able to follow so far, guys? Easy or difficult? Enjoying. What is this chapter called? Interpretation of statutes. In short, I am calling it IOS. To an exam, don't read IOS, guys. Fine. Interpretation of statutes. See you all in the next session. One more session Or do you want to see some more points? Some more points or next quickly? Fine, okay, no, you are silent. Anyway, I told I'm going to end. Recorded students will be irritated, sir. What, sir, you told like this? Go to the next one. We'll end it, guys. So, thank you for today's law class. Any doubts in what we have taken here? Fine. Any doubts online? No, fine, thank you. Hi guys, let's continue with law, interpretation of statutes. This session we will try to complete this unit, a beautiful piece of legislation. Like I said, one of my favorite. So last session we saw interpretation of statutes basically has three elements in the chapter. What are the three elements, guys? Rules of interpretation, then aids of interpretation, and interpretation of deeds and documents. Everybody repeat with me, recording here live, everybody repeat with me. In rules we have primary and secondary. In aids we have internal aids and external aids, and interpretation of deeds and documents is the last concept, 10 minutes concept I will do in the ending. In rules, a quick revision. Rule of literal construction we finished. Quickly, forget the technical terms. Of course, you have to remember the technical terms. For example, rule of literal construction, you should know ordinary and grammatical meaning, natural. Those are technical words that you should know. But on a simple understanding, what is rule of literal construction? If something is there, if that something is very clear, there is no ambiguity, follow that. Come home by 10 p.m. today on, let's say, 20th Feb 2025, then I have to come home on that day. No ambiguity, that's it. What is rule of reasonable construction? Whenever there is a choice for deviation, when I read something, meaning is X or Y, this or that, then the court says, court will decide the route which would have been the interpretation, which would have been the spirit of law. Following, guys, we also discussed what is interpretation, what is construction. Interpretation is what I wanted to communicate, construction is what you understood. Okay. Next we saw rule of harmonious construction. Harmonious means harmony. We are all in harmony together. So when you read a law, read it together. If there is a conflict, try to satisfy everything. Unless you can't satisfy one, then you give importance to the three terms: subject to, without prejudice, notwithstanding. If something has notwithstanding, that only stop. Sir, this section also has notwithstanding. Danish are asking, sir, section 23 also, for example, has notwithstanding. Section 43 also has notwithstanding. 23 is saying don't follow 43. 43 is saying don't follow 23. It's like mom is saying come home. Dad is saying don't come home. Both are conflicting each other. Or dad is saying eat now. Mom is saying don't eat now. What you will do? What you can do? Mom is saying eat now. Dad is saying don't eat. What you will do? You are scared of both of them. What you will do? That means it's bad parenting. It's bad parenting. Like that means if law is like that, it's a bad framing of law, bad drafting of law. It will not be like that. Are you following, guys? I have read the Companies Act. It's not there like that in Companies Act. Some other law is there also, they will fix it. Okay. We are yet to see the other rules over here. We will come to that today. Then secondary rules, we saw doctrine of non sectarian sources, which means doctrine of associated words. If two words are used in associated sense, get the combined meaning, don't read separately. Then we also saw doctrine of contemporano exposito. Contemporano means give importance to the contemporary period when the law was made to understand the law better. Are you following, guys? So these were the primary and secondary rules that we had. Before I go to the next set of rules, there is no hard and fast rule I should learn this chapter like this. I thought I will shift to aids of interpretation, just teach one or two things and then come back to rules. Okay. Aids of interpretation is of two types, guys, internal and external. Internal means, let's say, for example, I'll give a simple example to understand. You want 100 rupees. First you will ask people in your house, your family, nobody is helping. Then you will ask somebody outside. That means it's not about which help I take first. It's about the available help. Available help is internal in the house or external outside. Same way to understand law, you can seek for assistance within the law, seek for assistance outside the law. I will just take a few points in external aids for you to get clarity. See, look at the difference. Rules are to interpret law. Aids help you in interpretation. Are you following up? Rules tell what principle should I follow to read law. Aids will help you to interpret law. It's an additional assistance. Are you following? They won't ask in exam what is aids, what is rules and all. Not that. Aids of interpretation and rules. Are you guys clear online, everybody? Okay. Today only we will finish full chapter significantly. External aids, one by one. Historical setting. With historical setting only I introduced this chapter. I will go back to the example with which I started this chapter. I told you we had an act called Nirbhaya Act. Nirbhaya Act came in the year 2013. That time everybody understands the importance because whole country went on a strike. So this law says any juvenile in the age of 16 to 18 can also be hanged to death. Sir, minor sir, what minor? Law came, full country wanted their death, so law came and passed, correct? But same thing if you read the law in 2050, that time the society might ask, how foolish were people back then to put minors for death? Then I should tell, no, you should see the situation in 2013. That time the history demanded this. So we made this law. Are you following? So they are saying when you read a law, read the law along with the historical setting. Sir, give some example I can connect with, sir. Let's take an act from your syllabus, GST. Now, Vignesh is asking, sir, GST, why sir it came in which year? 2017, sir, GST came. VAT was there from 1990s itself. Why didn't we have GST in 1995, sir? 1995 only I am born, sir. Why I didn't have VAT or why I didn't have VAT that time? The law says, go to the history of 1995. That time, did we have services? Did we have internet? Did we have software? Did we have what other service? Telecom? Did we have insurance? Very only LIC. It was just upcoming. What are the other service? Spa service. Did you have spa in 1995? Are you following, guys? So when service itself is not there, why will I have GST? That's why we have only VAT. Somebody will ask, sir, in 1930, we have Sale of Goods Act. Why didn't we have Sale of Service Act in 1930? Discrimination. Stupid fellow, what discrimination? That time service itself is not there. Education service in 1930, what education? Did you have private class for CA? Did you have private college? Under the tree, Gurukul, that's it. So go and see the history, then you will understand better why we have a law. I started our class by saying, Motor Vehicles Act came when problem was there for traffic. Are you following, guys? That is historical setting. So if I go to external aids, look at this, all kuti, small points. Those who don't know Tamil, kuti means small, okay. Don't write kuti in exam, guys, then you will get kuti marks. Okay, fine. Historical setting, the history of external circumstances which led to the enactment in question is important to understand the law better. Are you following up? Are you following, guys? History in general and parliamentary history in particular, ancient history, other authentic work are relevant for interpreting and constructing a law. Are you following, guys? How this will come in exam? They will ask a 3-mark question. How does history help in interpretation? That's it. It has come in the past. History, they have asked this in past exam questions. I hope you got the pun. Okay. Now, next, consolidating statutes and previous laws. Let me explain this. Okay. See, for this chapter, only if I give you examples, you can connect better. We had an act called Surface Act. We also had an act called RDDBFI Act. RDBFI Act means Recovery of Debts Due to Banks and Financial Institution Act. I took loan like Vijay Mallya, I didn't repay. How to recover? RDBFI Act. SARFAESI Act also is on the similar lines. Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act. Don't have to mug up, not in your syllabus. Okay. So what are these acts doing? These acts had the same purpose basically. If somebody borrows and you don't repay, how to collect from them? If you want, I'll show you SARFAESI Act object. This is the SARFAESI Act. So if you see SARFAESI Act, look at this. SARFAESI Act says, this only is that, I told you SARFAESI Act, Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest. What the act does is not my botheration, I'm not going to tell you no. An act to regulate securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interest. That means, if you are curious, ICICI Bank has a loan from A, SBI has a loan from Vijay Mallya, Punjab National Bank has a loan from Nirav Modi, HDFC Bank has a loan from Adani. Okay. Nobody is repaying. Now, bank's work is to chase these people, do its core business. Do its core business. So now, let's take hero. Mahesh Babu is coming and telling, you give all these people to me. I will hit that fellow and get the loan. So, banks will transfer their interest in the loan to Mahesh Babu. Mahesh Babu will now go recover the money on behalf of the bank. You see in movies, one fellow will come with knife and tell, give the money, Mahesh Babu. Okay. So, SARFAESI Act is giving that power. Sir, then what is RDDBFI doing? That also is doing similar. How to recover from banks. That means these two acts came at different points of time, having the same objective. Now what the law did in 2016, I merged the act, we cancelled SARFAESI, we cancelled RDDBFI and launched a new act called IBC Code 2016. Look at this. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 came and told there are multiple acts. I will consolidate and amend the laws relating to reorganization and insolvency and make it one law. If I have to tell an example which you will understand, we had VAT hanging for goods, we had service tax hanging for service, we have excise duty hanging for manufacturing. All these were closed, replaced with. Now you will understand. But I didn't want to tell that example first, so that we need to learn new examples. Are you following, guys? Now come and read this. When you are, why GST came? It came to consolidate previous acts. Now look at this. Consolidating statutes and previous law. The preamble to many statutes contain an expression. An act to consolidate the previous law, not to alter the law. Look at insolvency's preamble. An act to consolidate and amend. Are you following up? So look at this. Our study mat uses the word an act to consolidate previous laws and make it one. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is an example of consolidating previous laws. Now in exam, if they ask you to write about consolidating previous laws, can I give Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code example? Yes. In this chapter, you are allowed to give real examples. Don't tell, sir, I consolidated rice, gravy and made it biryani. No. Consolidating act. Are you following, guys? Clear? So these are what, guys? External aids. So far they have asked direct question. You can give examples for direct questions. So you need to make a note of examples. So historical setting, consolidating statutes and previous laws. Keep taking running notes, guys. Your notes are the most valuable asset. Next. Usage. Let me explain what is usage. Xerox means what? Taking a photocopy. Fridge means what? refrigerator. But actually, everybody knows Xerox was the company which first introduced photocopy machine. But we are using Xerox for the term of Xerox now. For photocopy, we use Xerox. Like that, fridge was the first company which introduced refrigerator. But we still use the term fridge. Like that, the court is saying if law is quoting X, but the public is following Y, based on usage, the society as a whole accepted to follow Y over X. So, when you are interpreting law, give importance to how the public understands something over the law. So, now read usage. This refers to how law has been used and interpreted over the years by the public. Even though it is not following the actual law, this has to be given importance while determining the true meaning of the legislation. See, the law is made for whom? Public. If public itself is following something else, you better follow that, or at least give importance to that. Are you following, guys? Understanding? In external aids, what all we finished, guys? Historical setting, consolidating previous statutes and previous laws, usage. Next is something called dictionary definitions. So, if I tell dictionary, what word comes to your mind? Oxford Dictionary comes to your mind. Now, I told you in all the acts, definition is there in which section? Section 2, Companies Act, 2 subsection 85, 2 subsection 1, abridged prospectus. 85 is what, guys? Small company. 2 subsection 40, yet to see. How will you know? Yet to see. 2 subsection 69, 69, 70, 71. Promoters will issue a prospectus for a public company. Fine. Come back here. So, 2 is definition. Now, some word in the act, for example, let's take the real act itself. Okay. Let's take insolvency and bankruptcy code. Okay. These are all definitions. They are defining what is financial service, what is financial product, all these they are defining. Okay. If I come down after all the definitions, now the real section is starting. Okay. Now, in this randomly, they have written any person who controls. Dhyaneswar is saying, sir, what is the meaning of control? Control itself he doesn't know. So, immediately how to get the meaning? Go to the definitions and see if they have defined control. It comes in alphabetical order. So, I have to go to C. 2 subsection C, I have creditor, core service, corporator, some company person, chairperson, claim, charge. That's it. They have not defined the term control. So, what is the meaning of control? Are you following up? Law is using a very general term called control, which is not defined in the law. What is the meaning of control for the purpose of insolvency and bankruptcy code? My question is, when the law is not defining, can I use the meaning of the word control from a general dictionary like Oxford Dictionary? Are you following up? Can I use general dictionary? Hello? Of course, yes. Where else will you go refer to the word meaning call of the word control? So, external aids again says, look at this. First, we have to refer to the act in question to find the particular word. Just now we searched in the act for controller. We were not able to find control. Where we find that a word is not defined in the act itself, we may refer to dictionaries to find out the true meaning in which the word is commonly understood. Are you following? Can you give me other words in the act which is not defined but is commonly used? If I take Companies Act, for example, randomly I am going to page 157. Here they have used the word punishable. What is the meaning of word punishable? I don't know. Go to dictionary, because they don't define in the act. They have used the word aggrieved. Beautiful. Section 252, sir, not in syllabus. So what? 252 says, any person aggrieved of any order of registrar. What is the meaning of aggrieved? Affected. But I don't know, sir. Now only I am learning English. How to learn the meaning of aggrieved? Go to section 2 and search a definition. It's not there. So I will use what, guys? Dictionary definition. Are you following, everybody? So in external aids, we have finished dictionary also. So what are the 4 things we finished in external aids, guys? Historical setting, consolidating previous statutes, usage, dictionary definitions. Next, let's say after 5 years, Dhyaneshwar became a High Court advocate. Advocate only is more fun. You see all the movies, heroes coming as advocate or judge. All the movie of courtroom drama, Surya, Ajit, Amitabh Bachchan, Pawan Kalyan, Vadivel, they are coming as judge or advocate. Vadivel comes as judge, correct? Advocate only, okay. Everybody is coming as advocate, okay. Why I took the example itself, I forgot. Wait. Oh, super. So High Court advocate is Dhyaneshwar. See, most examples, it's spontaneous. I'm being very, very honest. I saw the point, thinking of what example, I saw Dhyaneshwar, okay, advocate, okay. This example is not there in the previous recording. It may not be there in the next batch. Some core examples will be there, like the surfacey. But rest of the lectures, it's just what comes in my mind. That's it. So sometimes it's boring, sometimes not boring. Don't blame me. Depends on my mood that day. And that is in your hands. Okay. And online student hands, and Vignesh, your hand also. Okay. Just joking. Okay. High Court advocate. Okay. Now High Court advocate, Dhyaneshwar went to the court. He is fighting a case in Coimbatore High Court. So Coimbatore is not having a High Court, or it's having it has. Okay, fine. Coimbatore. Okay, let's take something which is definitely there. Coimbatore, I'm not very sure. My bad. Low general knowledge. Mumbai High Court. Dhyaneshwar, straight promotion to Mumbai High Court. He is the advocate. Okay. Here, while fighting with the judge, he wanted to be a hero. So he told, according to Jones case law in Australian High Court, this is the judgment. So this only you should do. So he is quoting to a case law of some other country. Can he use? Can he use? Yes, I gave the answer in previous class. Solomon versus Solomon. When you studied Companies Act in foundation, first thing you learned is Solomon versus Solomon, separate legal entity. So law says, very simple. For whatever concept you are referring or principle you are referring, check if there is a case law in India. Yes, then use that. No, sir, for this concept we don't have a case law in India. Then you can use the foreign case law if the principles are the same. Sir, you all studied foundation. You all studied Contract Act. When you were studying Contract Act, middle some case laws came up. They were Indian case laws or foreign case laws. Jones versus Bolt, Bolt versus Jones. You remember all these cases, guys, in foundation. Okay? You don't remember. Direct entry, okay, but still cases will be there. So we can use foreign case law if principle is same. The logic is Indian Contract Act is a copy of British. Indian Companies Act is a copy, adopted from that, and we made our changes. So core principle will be same. India also auditor, there also auditor. Here also director, there also director. But Australian company law has one more extra concept. They have something called shadow director. We don't have. What is shadow director? Sleeping partner. Sleeping partner, like that. So whichever concept is same, we can refer to case law. Sir, all this nonsense and story I don't want, sir. For exam, what should I do? For exam, you want to study. First, use of foreign decisions. What remember for example, look at this. Foreign decisions of countries, I am repeating, foreign decisions of countries following the same system of jurisprudence as ours and given laws similar to our legislature, we can use for understanding our law. India democracy, US democracy. India has Companies Act, US has Companies Act. India has income tax, US has income tax. Provisions Tax rate might change, but core is same. I can refer. India and China. Can I take China case law here? China is a communist country. India is a democratic country. We don't have the same jurisprudence. We don't have a similar law. So I can't follow China case law. Are you following, guys? However, they are saying, look at this. If you read the wordings, I don't know if I have zoomed it enough for online students. Okay. Is the zoom enough, guys, online? Earlier, now. Okay. Yes, Vignesh has confirmed. That means 100% it's enough. Now, however, prime importance is always given to the language of the Indian statute. Give importance to Indian law, then go to foreign law. So, for the first 5 points, sir, all the stories you told, keep it aside, sir. 5 points, 15 seconds. What are the core points? Historical settings. When a law is made, give importance to the history as to why the law came. Second, consolidating statutes and previous laws. Some laws consolidate previous laws like GST. That means they are not creating a new law. They are only summarizing the previous laws, like IBC is one classic example. Usage. Give importance to what the public believes more than law. When there is a conflict, court will take values of public because public has been following this for decades or whatever years. Okay. Dictionary definitions. Can I use dictionary definitions? Yes. But first you check in the act if it's defined. If it's not defined for general terms, you can use dictionary definition. But we study General Clause Act. So you have to see definition in our act, then General Clause Act, then dictionary. That's not there here. But if you write answer like that, examiner will be impressed. How to impress the examiner? Writing answer like this. Instead of writing, my Google Pay number is all of this. Okay. Next, use of foreign decisions. Use of foreign decisions. What is the provision, guys? I can use the decision of foreign country if our jurisprudence is the keyword. If jurisprudence is similar. But give importance to Indian case law. Same issue, if India has case law, give Indian case law. That's it. Are you following, guys? Clear? That's it. If you want to look at this, I have just given it extremely simple words. For example, I am reading one circle for your comfort. Usage. The court should be unwilling to change the interpretation of the general use of public unless they see a cognate logical reason for doing so. Law is saying what public believes, the court says public believes, I will follow that even though it's against the law, unless what the public believes doesn't make sense. For example, in Tamil Nadu, many years back, we had this Jallikattu protest. That time, law was something else, protest was something else. Correct? There was a conflict between law. Protest was because we had to go against the law for some reason. Correct? They wanted to ban Jallikattu. We wanted to have that. That's the reason. Correct? So for Jallikattu, people were protesting. That time, what the law court told, giving importance to the usage. Public wants this. You can't go change the law. But it can't be against. It can't be against the, what to say, even though public believes, if all public comes and tells her, we will not vote, no more democracy. If public does something stupid, court will not allow that. It should be logical. Are you following, guys? Clear? Understanding? Clear? This is first 5 points of usage. We have last one more point, then external aids of usage will get over. Interesting or boring, guys? Okay. Last one, earlier and later acts and analogous acts. I will simply give you an example. Okay. If you take Surfacy Act, where we took Surfacy Act, it came in the year 2002. Okay. So Surfacy came in the year 2002. I should write everything in capitals when you write abbreviation, but I'm just writing like this. GST should be GST in caps. It can't be small letters. Okay. And we have recovery of debts from banks and financial recovery. Yeah, this RDD BFI. Okay. Act. This, I don't remember the year correctly. I don't have to remember, but I think it was something around 1985 or something. Leave it. Google and find. No use. Not going to come in exam. Just assume it's 1985. Okay. Now, this act says follow X. This act says follow Y. In other words, this act says something is valid whatever that something is. This act says something is not valid. Both relates to the same concept. It's like, to give an example, your mother first messaged you on WhatsApp saying, come home by 10 p.m. Later she messaged on Instagram by telling, you can come home whenever you want. Which you will follow? Are you following? In WhatsApp you open, your mom said come home by 10. In Instagram you open, it said come home whenever you want. Which you will follow? Logically, which you will follow? No, depends on both same situation, you got two messages. Which you will follow? Vignesh is the correct answer. Yes, Vignesh. Beautiful. Vignesh has given answer saying, sir, if WhatsApp message came at 6 p.m. and if Instagram message came at 7 p.m., I will follow the latest. Because that only is more relevant. That only is latest decision. Correct? That's the common sense. Here also, if two acts are conflicting with each other, you will follow which? Latest act. The logic is, when the latest act is made, I know about the previous act. Knowing that I made this, when your mom sent you a message on Instagram at 7 p.m. saying come home, don't come home or whatever, do what you want, she knows about the message she sent at 6 p.m. So, the later message will override the older message. Are you following, guys? Same way with acts. So, look at this. Sir, what should I remember for exam? For exam, where, look at this, where two acts are read together. Two acts are read together is nothing but harmonious construction. What they are saying, the general principle is that though made at different times, not referring to each other, they shall construe to be as one system. First he is telling, if there is a conflict, try to follow both. But however, see, look at this, though made at different times, expired not referring to each other, they shall be taken and construed together as one system. If there is any conflict when they are read together in relation to certain provisions, refer to the act that is enacted at a later date. That's it. Assumption is that when the later act was passed, the lawmaker had knowledge of the previous act. Are you following, guys? Clear? Understanding? Next, earlier act explained by later act. Let's read and understand small footy concepts. Where an old act is replaced by a new act, keep in mind, Companies Act 1956 replaced by Companies Act 2013. The later act may be used to interpret the earlier act. Companies Act 2013 may be used to understand Companies Act 1956. Only if both the acts are on the same lines as part of, and a part of earlier act is ambiguous. So, to understand Companies Act 1956, I can use Companies Act 2013 if the old act is confusing. Are you able to follow, guys? Okay. Reference can be made to a repealed part of an act. Again, this provision is a little bit of General Clause Act. We have seen this in detail in GCA. The repealed law would lose its operative force. However, this would act as a history for the new law. Hence, reference can be made for construing the unrepealed part. He is saying, when GST came, VAT deleted. But to understand what is input tax credit, you can refer to the concepts of input tax credit and VAT to understand the logic. Are you following, guys? Clear? So, these are external aids. How is there external aid? For GST, VAT is an external aid. It's not there in GST. Are you following? It's not there in GST. Are you all with me, guys? So, if you go back to the start of the chapter, under external aids, we have only 6 points. Should I mug up? Will they ask question in exam? What are external aids? 5 marks. Maybe if you are in foundation. Inter, they haven't asked like that. They will randomly pick one, or sometimes they have asked, explain any 3 external aids. Super, sir. Choice. What if you left the whole chapter in choice? Then nothing can be done. Nobody can save you. External aids. What are the external aids? Quickly, just to have a quick historical setting, consolidating statutes and previous laws, usage, dictionary definitions, earlier and later acts and analogous acts. We are yet to see that. Dictionary and use of foreign nations. Earlier and later only we saw. Later will prevail over the earlier act. Are you following, guys? So external aids comes to an end. That's it. So we basically have internal aids and then few more rules. Are you following, guys? Now I will jump back to rules, because if I take internal aids now, then before I finish it, some of you will definitely sleep. Then you will message me, sir, I want access, sir, I slept off while class was going on. Okay. Follow. Okay. Yes. So Dhyaneshwar's question is, he is now doing interpretation of statutes. And he's asking, sir, usage says what public understands is given more importance than what law says. Rule of literal construction says what it says. Read whatever is there. Don't deviate. So he's saying, aren't they both conflicting? No, it's not conflicting, because where rule of literal construction comes, usage cannot come. When law is clear, why will you have a different meaning? Not possible. It's contradictory. I can't be here and I can't be in my house at the same time. Either I can be here or I can be in my house. So when rule of literal construction comes, usage will not have importance, because what is there is very clear. Follow that. When usage will come, rule of reasonable construction, where I am allowed to deviate, where such a deviation is outside of law. So this is again a fine line of difference. Rule of reasonable construction says understand as X or understand as Y, but usage says public understood as Z, which is X plus Y. Are you following? Reasonable construction, people could have taught as X or Y, but public understood as Z. Court will give importance to what public understood and accepted, because law is made for public and for their acceptance. Are you following, guys? So we are done with rule of harmonious construction. Let me come in reverse. If I do 3 more rules, 4 more, sorry, we are done with the rules. Rule of beneficial, exceptional, Hayden's rule, and rule of, what's the last one, guys? See and read. Adjustum generis. Rule of adjustum generis. Okay, let me do rule of I'll go in order itself. Rule of Hayden's case or mischief rule. Very, very important rule. You can mark it many times. Several times they have asked an exam. What is Hayden's rule? Hayden, sir, means cricket player. Hayden, no. What is Hayden's rule? What is mischief rule? Okay, let me give an example. Okay, now let's say you are traveling in car, and on the road, at least in Chennai, we have these signs which says you should not cross 40, along with a camera. If the car is going more than 40 kilometers, they will take a photo and they will send you a fine. Are you aware of this? It's newly come in Chennai, it's there in other cities, where you have to drive in speed limit. What is the point of that? To make money, sir. Idea is to prevent accidents. Generally, they keep this not in every area. Wherever there is accident prone zones, where they want you to slow down, they will keep it. Now, what I did, correctly when this comes, I am slowing down, and after crossing this, again 80, 120, I am going speed. Is there a point of having that? No. Just this area I am slowing down, again increasing speed. That means government doesn't have the facility to keep one CCTV camera with, what to say, capturing with the number plate every 100 meters. So the intention of law was for you not to cross the speed in this road. But you found a loophole, and once you cross this tower, you are accelerating and going in the speed you want. Correct? So mischief rule says law was made, and as a user, you found a loophole. If you find a loophole, what I should do? Amend it. I have to amend it by saying, I will keep a camera behind also, or I will track you through FASTag. Once you cross this also, you have to go in 40 kilometers only for next 2 kilometers. Otherwise, if you increase the speed, we will track you with satellite or some other mode and put penalty. So law is amended, saying the speed limit should be maintained for this full 2 kilometers stretch. Are you following? So Hayden's rule says, basically, if there is a mischief in law, try to correct it. I'll give another classic example, sir. Give me subject example. Let me give you income tax example, guys. Income tax has a section called 54 EC. How many of you are aware? Capital gains over. Recording those who are watching, if capital gains is not over, wait for capital gains to understand this example in the full effort. Exemption, correct. Okay. This section says where somebody gets a long-term capital gain, if the gain is invested within 6 months, then you can claim an exemption up to 50 lakhs in a financial year. Are you following, guys? So if my capital gain is 5 crores, how much is exempt? 50 lakhs. If this 50 lakhs is invested in some recognized securities, national highway bonds, NHA bonds, sovereign gold bonds, like that. But what I did smartly, look at the wordings. From the date of sale of asset, within 6 months, if I invest in recognized bonds like National Highway Authority of India, you will get exemption of 50 lakhs in a financial year. Law was like this. So CA started advising clients to sell the asset on 31st of December or in around December month. So when does 6 months end? June 30th. Year ends on 31st of March. Let's say my land is giving me a gain of 4 crores. How much exemption I get? 50 lakhs. But here what they told, I will claim exemption twice. Look at the wordings. Where did I write that? Yellow. Okay, so what are the provisions saying, guys? If you invest within 6 months, you will get 50 lakhs in one financial year. This fellow, by selling on 31st December, he is covering 2 financial years. If I put this as 21, 22, 22, he is covering, this period belongs to 20, 21, this period belongs to 23, 22 and 23. So the assessee argued by saying, see, if I invest in 6 months, I will get 50 lakhs exemption. In one financial year, I invested 1 crore, 50-50, so give me 2 financial years. So law came and told, hey, my intention is not to give you double benefit, it's only one. Law got amended by saying, instead of a financial year, it says in any one financial year, within a cap of some 3 or 5 years, something. Whatever income tax provision I tell you, don't remember for exam, it's only for example. I'm telling you what I studied. No amendment would have come. But this and all is true. I mean, core concepts. Are you following, guys? So this is rule of Hayden or mischief. I want you guys to. The rule in Hayden's case or mischief rule, where the law is statutes capable of more than one interpretation, the firm mostly establishes the construction laid down in Hayden's rule. The intention of this rule is always to make such construction as which will suppress the mischief and advance the remedy according to the true intention of the legislation. Sir, I am not understanding. Simple. If there is a mischief loophole, the court will try to avoid the mischief and look at the true intention of the legislation. If you have done some fraud, okay sir, I have done like this, 2 times I have accounted. Court will not give importance to this. Court will try to suppress that mischief. So exam, what are the 4 points you have to remember? What was the law before making the act in both the examples? In example of what is this? 54 EC. In example of 54 EC, CG, yeah, CG is capital gains. I missed it. CG capital gains. In example of capital gains, what was the law before making the act? Or the previous example was, what was the law in traffic before the law? Only here. Now look at this. What was the defect, mischief, hardship caused by earlier law? Correct to both examples. Here, I am following traffic only up to this tower, but here and over here, I am claiming in 2 years. How does the parliament seek to resolve this mischief or deficiency? Over here, what I will do? Amend the law in a financial year to 1 financial year only. Because in a year they said, they interpreted as multiple, and here I will amend by saying 2 kilometers radius. Then after doing the amendment, I have to check what are the true reasons for remedy. Did remedy actually come? Are you following up? Yes, are you understanding? So in exam they will ask you what is Hayden's rule. Vignesh, really understanding? Confusing or no? Exam will ask you. So far in the past, this much detail he has not gone. I am giving you so many examples. Book also, I don't know if there are so many examples. In exam they will ask you, what is mischief rule? What is Hayden rule? You have to write these 4 points and write the above paragraph in own words. Meaning, the intention, the laws, the construction should suppress the mischief and give the remedy in the true intention of the legislation, true spirit of the game. Give importance to spirit of the law. Are you following? Anybody finding it fast online, sir? It's going very fast. Law. Whenever you feel it's going fast, please let me know. I know, of course, you can't expect the speed we had when we started the batch, but I will slowly keep picking up. Everybody who was watching online, can you quickly confirm recording? You just have to message me if you feel it's fast before I finish recording. After I finish recording, if you're watching this, next batch you don't attend, you should have finished. Yes, online. Are you guys there? You slept off? Okay, perfect, Santosh. Understood. Okay. Fine. This is done. So we are done with rule of, which rule, guys? Rule of Hayden's rule. What is rule of beneficial construction? Same as rule of reasonable construction. What is reasonable construction? I gave you example of marriage gift. If law has multiple openings or multiple way of interpretation, choose the one which is spirit of the law. Beneficial construction is actually not there in interpretation of statutes. It is there only in our material. ICA material has it like that. So, if rule of beneficial construction comes, or if rule of reasonable construction comes, or if golden rule of construction, we call this as golden rule. So question can be a 4-mark question. What is golden rule of construction, or what is reasonable construction, or what is beneficial construction? Same answer. But only one extra point is, here in beneficial construction, sometimes if the law is giving importance to a particular section or community of people, this caste has this benefit. Like that, if law is giving some benefit, then the judge or the court is saying, you also interpret giving benefit to that particular society or particular community. Look at this. This is strictly speaking not a rule, but a method of interpreting a provision, so as to declare the intention of the legislation, same as reasonable. Look at this. Beneficial construction will be given to a statute which brings into effect provisions for improving the conditions of certain class of people who are underprivileged or have not been treated fairly in the past. Many times people will ask, sir, why sir, this community, SC/ST community is having so much benefit in UPSC exam, this exam. You cannot tell why it's there, why it's not there. The reason is very simple, rule of beneficial construction. They are saying 100 years, 150 years back, they suffered. Our history, our people did not treat them well, because of which they lost a lot of privileges, getting into good colleges, getting into this. So the ancestors in that particular community did not get proper education. So at least now I want to help that community, so I am giving some kind of reservation. Will this be there after 20 years? No. 100 years, 150 years, they were oppressed. Now give them some benefit. What's wrong? Are you following, guys? Clear? I'm not saying for or against. I'm just giving you logic as to why law is like this. That's it. Are you following, guys? Okay. So, in simple words, where there are two or more ways of interpreting a provision, same as reasonable construction, choose the one which gives relief and protects the benefit of the one who are intended to be given by the law. Are you following, guys? If you, let's say, SC/ST community is given some benefit, but when you read the law, one way is like not giving benefit, another interpretation is giving benefit. Then what meaning you will take? Giving benefit. Rule of beneficial construction. Are you following, guys? Clear? Even if there is a mistake in law, I will give it or I will give the benefit to the particular community. That's only rule of beneficial construction. Are you following, guys? Hello? We are done with rule of beneficial construction. So we are left only with two more rules and internal aid, two more rules. Rule of exceptional construction and rule of adjustum generis, both are fairly important. And then internal aids and interpretation of deeds and documents. Following, guys, recording, if you feel too much content, you can always pause and see, but this choice offline students don't have. At least online live might have slept, we don't know. Rahul, are you there in the class? Hello. Rahul is awake. We have 25 students online today, randomly. Rizu S. Who is this first? Who is Rizu? First time I'm saying. Rizwana, okay. Vishnu, are you there in the class? Which topic is this? Interpretation of statutes. Which concept I just finished? Beneficial construction. Very good. Yes, Vishnu, read this loudly for me. Rule 7. What is it? Rule of adjustum generis. Don't worry, no viva. Recording students, if I am asking Vishnu, you are only Vishnu. You should have answered by now. If not, pause, answer, come back. Okay. What he told you, I didn't understand. I can't repeat, but something he tried. That's good. Let's go to rule of adjustum generis. Okay. I am writing lion. Lion means don't, lion, tiger. In one batch, I wrote lion, tiger. Before I wrote next, someone told Vijay Devarkonda. No. I am meaning about real meaning, not the cinematic meaning. Okay. Lion, tiger, then cheetah, and other animals is a statement I have made. Okay. Lion, tiger, cheetah and other animals. Now can I say other animals includes dog? Can I say in this statement, if I write this, can I say other animals includes dog? Can I say other animals includes a cat? Can I say other animals includes an elephant? In this line, does it include? No. I was waiting for a no. I'm sure you all said no. Why no? Can I keep lion, tiger, cheetah and cat in one room? You can keep, but only 3 of them will come out or we don't. So these are basically wild animals, carnivorous, elephant, dog, cat. Sir, cat is eating rats, sir. Carnivorous means, what to say? Cat can survive with vegetarian. Near my house, neighbor, one cat is there. They give only curd rice for that cat every day. That cat also Does not go and chase the rat. It will sleep, eat curd rice, sleep, eat curd rice, sleep. It became fat also and it sleeps. Okay. But lion, tiger, cheetah cannot survive on vegetarian food. So, here other animals includes what? Example? Rahul. No. Other animals includes what, guys? Wolf, jaguar, fox, leopard. Very good, leopard. So, other wild animals. Rahul, yes, you are saying something? Hyena, very good. Hyena, especially after the latest movie, Hyena is trending. Okay. Subramani, okay, fine. Put that over here. Those who didn't watch the movie, those who are not from South India, leave it, guys. You have no comments, guys. Not the time to comment. Leave it. Good movie, bad movie. Enjoy 3 hours. Come back. Now exam is important. Don't go search. Fine. Come here. So that simple. What is rule of adjustum generis? Adjustum generis says where a general word follows a set of specific words, the general word takes the meaning of the specific word. Are you following up? Where general word follows specific words, general word takes the meaning of specific words. Now read the rule. Where specific words pertaining to a class or category or genus are followed by general words, lion, tiger, cheetah, followed by other animals, the general word shall be construed to the things of the same kind of those specified. Let me give another example. I am saying fan, light, bulb, then what else, guys? AC and other appliances. What does other appliances include? Other home appliances like microwave, geyser, heater, geyser, fridge. What it won't include? Can I put car here? Yes, Rahul. What else? What I can't put here? Tractor. Rahul, you are telling something, but I am not able to understand. If possible, put in the chart. Your voice is breaking. Sofa can come. Okay, sofa will not come because sofa is not an appliance. These are all electric appliances. Are you following the rule? So, like this in law also, sometimes when general words follow specific words, that general word should take the same nature of the specific words. Are you following, guys? When is this rule applicable? There are some conditions. Let me read and give you the examples. Okay. The statute contains an enumeration of specific words. Just now I told. List of lion, tiger, cheetah. If I write lion and other animals, this rule won't come. Because there should be specific words, not specific word. Okay. The subject of enumeration constitutes a class or category. Meaning, if I write lion, snake, parrot and other animals. Now is the principle applicable? No. Because these three cannot be put into a bucket. Snake is a reptile, parrot is a bird, lion is a carnivorous animal. So look at this point now. The subject of enumeration means the specific words, lion, tiger, etc. constitutes a class, wild animals, carnivorous. Are you following, guys? In exam, if he's asking you rule of adjustum generis, first line everybody will write general words following specific words. These 4 points are the key words, okay, key sentences. Next, the class or category is not exhausted by the enumeration. What do you mean by point number 3? Class or category is not exhausted by enumeration. What do you mean by that, guys? For example, how many wild animals are there in the world? Can you give me a number, guys? Okay, I don't want to search on Google. Let's say some number will come, guys. Let's say there are 75,767 wild animals or wild animals in the world. Very big number, it's very less. Example I'm giving. Now, I am writing all the 75,000 animal names and then writing and other animals. Which other animals? Already I wrote everything. I'm writing your exam syllabus or your paper says Paper 1 plus paper 2 plus paper 3 plus paper 4 plus paper 5 plus paper 6 plus other papers. Which paper? No paper. Are you following up? So now read this point again. The class or category is not exhausted. I have not finished by the enumeration. That means you didn't write all the words available. There are etc. Etc. is there. Are you following, guys? You can't list all the colors and write other colors. Which color? Are you understanding, guys? Can you give me more examples like this? So many I can write. Types of textile, cotton, silk, this, that, everything I will write, and other textile. Which textile? Everything you finished. Okay, subjects is perfect. There is no indication of a different legislative intent. That means, if law is silent, default setting, I will follow this. Are you following? See, point 4 I am skipping because we finished. General term must follow the enumeration. In our example, other animals followed lion, tiger. Correct? General term must follow the enumeration. Lion, look at this. What is the general term here? Other appliances followed electric appliances. Last one is a beautiful point. No indication of a different legislative intent. That means what? Default, I will follow this. When I should not follow this? If the law tells, don't follow. Sometimes the law will tell, don't follow the rule of adjustum generis. Then you can't follow this. That time you should follow what that law tells. It will give you some other remedy. Are you following? These are the core principles of this rule. What are the rules, guys? First, there should be enumeration of specific words, list of few specific words. Second, subject must contain a particular class of goods. The class or category is not exhausted by the remuneration. It's not over. General terms must follow the enumeration. General should follow specific words. There is no different legislative intent. Are you following, guys? Next. They have also given some exceptions when this rule cannot be applied. Exception you already know, guys. Basically what they did, this 5 points only, they rephrased and gave us exception. Look at this. The preceding term is general as well as the following is general. You can't use this. They are saying animal and other animals. Which animal? Ranbir Kapoor. No. If they are saying animal and other animals, which animal? Both are general. I can't follow. I can't follow this principle. Are you getting logic, guys? Next, where the particular words exhaust the whole genus, same as this point. Where the subject enumeration constitutes a class, like all the specific words. No, sorry. Third point. The class or category is not exhausted by the enumeration. That only second point here. Where particular words exhaust the whole genus. All words I wrote means you can't follow this. Next, where the specific objects enumerated are essentially diverse in character. This one, lion, snake, parrot, diverse in character. There is no relationship, even though it's specific words. How do I classify? Carnivorous, reptile, birds. There is no correlation. Are you following, guys? Sir, snake will eat parrot, sir. Lion will eat snake. I'm trying to create, no, it's not like that. Okay, if anybody has doubt. They are diverse in character. That is, you can't put all the three into one bucket. You can't classify them. Okay. This point also same. Above fifth point, here fourth point. Look at this. Where there is an express intention of legislature that the general term shall not be read adjustum generis to the specific words. That means law clearly expresses the reader not to use this rule. Are you following, Vignesh? Understanding? Hello? That's it. So this is rule of adjustum generis, one of my favorite rules. Are you following this? Actism is my favorite act, guys. It should be your favorite because this tells you how to read other acts. In the future, when you go to articleship, you might have to refer to many acts which is not in your syllabus. How to read a law. General Clause Act gave you a guidance. This is giving you more guidance. Both these are so important. That's why it's still there in the syllabus. Generally, I've seen so many students skip this and General Clause Act and go to exam. What's the point? Is it difficult, guys? If you ask students, they will tell, sir, dry topics, sir. What's dry in this? If you give the right examples and you understand concept, it's very easy. Okay. That's it. We are almost at the end, guys. We are going to finish this chapter today. Okay. If you think a lot is left, I'm sorry. No, we have very little left. Because internal aids are very simple. Quickly we will finish like external aids. We have 10 internal aids. I will show examples. We have last rule of exceptional construction, interpretation of deeds documents. That's it. 45 minutes is the target to close this. Are you all with me, guys? Let's revise the act or interpretation of statutes one more time. Rules, this act has 3 parts. You should know the structure. Rules of interpretation, aids of interpretation, interpretation of deeds and documents. Rules are of 2 types, primary and secondary. Secondary has 2, doctrine of non-sectarian sources, doctrine of contemporary exposito. Next, aids of interpretation, we have 2 types, internal and external. Internal and external, there are some points. External, we saw foreign case laws, dictionary definition, consolidation, historical setting, for all of these points. Clear, guys? Okay. Rule of exceptional construction. The word itself tells exception. What do you mean by exception? I'll explain. Very simple it is. Follow. Many times in the law, they will use the word and. Many times they have used the word or. Classic example we have seen in Companies Act. Imprisonment and fine or penalty, or sometimes we have seen imprisonment or fine or both. Have you seen this, guys? If you just Control F search for and in Companies Act, there will be lots. Just go to Companies Act. This page itself might have some and. Look at this. Randomly, I just went back to section 252, which is not in our syllabus. Look at this. The company and all the persons concerned. That means what? Both of them. Company should also do it. Person should also do. Sir, take something from our syllabus, sir. I am just scrolling randomly to the top. We are in section, something that we have taken for you guys. Little more on top. Okay. Okay. Look at this. Section 17. What is section 17? Copies should be given. Now look at this. Where a copy is made, when the payment is made, the company should give memorandum, articles and every agreement and every resolution referred to in subsection 1 of 117. That means what? MOA plus AOA plus other agreements. What are other agreements? When you go to 117, you will know. It talks about resolutions, board resolution, all those resolutions. Okay. So, and means what? You have to do both. Before and, left hand side of and, what word is there? Right hand side also you have to follow, sir. Or, sir, I know this. Or means this or that. This I know. What is rule of exceptional construction? That's where the beauty comes. Sometimes when they use the word and, you have to interpret as or. Sometimes when they use the word or, you have to interpret as and. Let me give an example. Let's say in dividend chapter, for example, this is not the actual provision. Let's say in section 127 of Companies Act, they are saying if dividend is not paid within 30 days, imagine the law is written like he will be imprisoned up to 2 years plus penalty of 1,000 per day. Correct? In dividend we learn this. Imprisonment up to 2 years and 1,000 rupees per day penalty. If you don't pay dividend in 30 days, let me insist on the word and over here. Now, Mukesh Ambani declared dividend for Reliance. he made a small delay. Instead of paying in 30 days, he paid in 33 days. If you are the judge, will you put him in jail for this delay? Why? Reasonable delay. But if I have to do a rule of literal construction and literally follow the law, then I have to put 1000 rupees penalty per day into 3,000, and I have to put him in jail. Will I put him in jail here? No. Sometimes the law says, court says, in scenarios like this, one example, here, even though law is using the word and is read as or means imprisonment or 1000 rupees penalty per day. Are you following, guys? Opposite. Sometimes when they use the word or, if court feels, hey, you have to do this, then they will make it and. Are you following, guys? Clear? They are saying, let's say company incorporation. Assume the law is framed poorly. The company, for the purpose of incorporation, should submit AOA or MOA. If this is how the law was written, will you understand this as AOA or MOA, or will you understand as AOA plus MOA? AOA plus MOA should be submitted for the purpose of incorporation of company. So this is the case where or is read as and. So now if I come to our notes, I am just giving you one illustrative example and or. Look at this. What they are saying here. A is a particle joining or conjunctive, BCR, little bit English terms. Here, requirement of both the provision should be satisfied, and or is a distinctive particle, makes an alternate generally corresponding to either this or that. In this case, satisfying any one clause is sufficient. Are you following, guys? But I told you, sometimes and can be read as or, and or can be read as and, based on the context in which they are used. Are you following, guys? Same way for the words may and shall, which is mandatory in this. Shall means I have to mandatorily do it, which is optional. May. Law doesn't use the word optional, they use the word directive. Directive means optional. So look at this. The words may and shall be understood in their natural meaning. May is a directive provision, implying that optional clause to be complied. Shall is mandatory. Again, same exception. Sir, if you want to summarize this, and or may shall, this you all know. We are only going to look at scenarios where and is going to be read as or read as and, or some scenario where law says it's optional but you will make it mandatory in mandatory, or shall will be read as may. There are 6 points that you have to remember. Look at this. Cases where may shall be treated as shall, cases where shall will be treated as may. Let's read the point. I'll give you one example for each. First, these three, where may is treated as shall. Even though it's an option, it becomes mandatory. Look at this. Where the subject involves the discretion coupled with an obligation. Let me give an example. The company has to file return within 6 months from end of financial year, or the wordings could be the company may file the return within 6 months. Now this is an discretion, may file in 6 months, coupled with an obligation, I have to file. So here may is read as shall. Are you following, guys? Where may is read as shall. Second, the word may has been used in pure matter of conventional courtesy. That means what? Used as conventional courtesy means used as a formality. To incorporate a company, you may get auditor's sign. Simply I wrote may. Auditor's sign is mandatory, where may is read as shall. Are you guys following? Similarly, using may as a directive provision, as an optional provision, may defeat the object of the law. GST says the assessee may claim input tax credit. Will you say optional and leave it? You will claim, because if you don't claim credit in GST, it is defeating the object of the act of GST to give credit for value add made by you if it's used. Correct? So even if the law is poorly framed, they are saying 3 cases where may is read as shall, discretion coupled with obligation, where may is used as a conventional courtesy, where using as may might defeat the object of the act. You have to remember these 3 points, guys. He can ask a 3-mark question when may is treated as shall and shall is treated as may. 3 plus 3, 6 points, 3, 4 marks. Or MCQ. What are the 3 keywords you should remember? Don't mug up. 3 keywords. Discretion coupled with obligation. It's used for a conventional courtesy. Conventional courtesy, guys. Very sorry about the pronunciation. Using may as a directive provision will defeat the provisions of the act. Are you following, guys? Next. Now we are going to see a beautiful point where shall is used as may. It is mandatory, it becomes optional. For example, I told everybody, you have to write exam on 31st Jan. For example, you have to write the exam. Nobody wrote. For me, it is a shall, but you took it as may, where shall was interpreted as may. This is our example. Give some law example. The law says, the High Court, or leave High Court, the law says, if you apply to government for getting Aadhaar card, new Aadhaar card, the law says, for example, government should issue the Aadhaar card within 7 days. Government shall issue within 7 days. 17 days over, they didn't issue, what you will do? You will try to go fight, delay, put some penalty. So government says, who makes the law? I will tell rules, you follow. You don't tell, I cannot follow. That means government is saying, I won't make rules for myself. I am very transparent. So look at this. Here, what is the rule? Government should give new Aadhaar within 7 days. Government shall give new Aadhaar within 7 days. But whenever the law uses the word shall with government, it is understood as may. Look at this point, where it has been used against the government. If a mandatory force is used against the government, it will become a directory force. Are you following? If you try to force the government, it becomes optional. Are you understanding? Similarly, next 2 points, where the intention of the legislature so demands. I'll give a classic example. They will say, tribunal should pass order within 15 days. Do you think they will pass order in 15 days? They will take 15 years maybe. Here, tribunal shall pass order in 15 days. The shall is read as may. Are you following, guys? Next, where the intention of the legislature so demands, based on each case, law demands, where giving it mandatory interpretation would result in absurd results. Third and third, both points are similar. Result in absurd results. If you take it as 3 months, it will not be logical. So I have to, if you take it as shall, it may not be logical. So I will take it as may. Are you following, guys? Clear? They are saying, after COVID, government should make all the applications online and the government shall put every data on RTI. Government shall disclose every fund what they used. Okay, but if you do that, it will result in absurd results. It's going to be very hard. I mean, complicated to do it. It will not make sense. To go break up, you can't go to that micro level. Only macro level numbers you can see. Are you understanding rule of exceptional construction, guys? Hello, all of you with me? Sir, for exam, what to remember? Very simple. We did 2 rules now. Rule of exceptional construction, rule of adjustum generis. For adjustum generis, just remember those first 5 points, conditions and those exceptions. For adjustum generis, you remember that. For exceptional construction, very simple. And means include both, or means choice. But sometimes and is read as or is read as and. Same way with may and shall. May is directive, shall is mandatory. But sometimes shall is may is shall. 3 plus 3 cases. Should you remember? Absolutely yes. So now if you go back on top, we are done with everything in this chapter. Primary rules are done, secondary rules are done, internal aids are done. We have only external aids are done. We have only internal aids and interpretation of deeds and documents. Which one do you want to do first? Internal aids or interpretation of deeds and documents? Okay. Internal aids, guys. Internal aids means what is there within the law. Look at this, just 2 pages within the law. Very simple. Quickly, guys, we can close this chapter today. Okay. What is there within the law that is helpful for me? Are you all with me, guys? Can we go for another 30 minutes and close this? Hello. Long title. What is long title? Title of the act. Look at this. Title of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Are you following, guys? Next, if I take another act, SURFACE. Look at this. On top, you can see securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interest. Are you following, guys? The question is, sometimes there will also be a short title. The Companies Act. Companies Act, long title could be an act to consolidate law relating to companies. Short title is Companies Act. Now my question is for you, very simple. Can I use long title? The whole idea is, can I use this for the purpose of interpretation or construction? Correct? Can I use it for the purpose of interpretation or construction? Can I use title to understand law? Yes. The name Companies Act will tell me that every provision here is in respect to Companies Act. So look at this. The short title merely identifies the enactment, GST, like that. The long title, on the other hand, describes the enactment, securitization, asset enforcement, that one. The long title of the act is part of the act. We can therefore refer to ascertain the object of the act, and it's admissible to aid as construction. That means to understand the section numbers and concepts, title can help aid in understanding, okay, if something is confusing, which entity? This is for company, because title is what? Companies Act. Are you following? Is they are saying in Companies Act, entity has to follow accounting standards. You are confused. Which entity? Go to title, the Companies Act. So entity means company. Are you following, guys? But can title override section? Can title override section? Answer is no. Remember, guys, how a law is passed. First we take the law to the Lok Sabha, then Rajya Sabha, then President signs. Only if it goes through this entire channel, it becomes the law of the land. Title also went through this process. Section number also went through this process. Which overrides what? Section number overrides title. Are you following? Why? Because section number, you are using title to understand section number. If it can be an aid of interpretation, it cannot override the interpretation in section. Are you following, guys? Next, preamble. Very simple. I will show you multiple preambles. In many books also have you seen preamble. I thank this person for this. This book you have to read like this. Then only you can make the best use of it. They will put one paragraph. Correct? So, what is preamble? I will show you the preamble of Companies Act and the other acts. Section 470, if I go till there, you can see the preamble of the Companies Act, which says this one. Why do I have this act? An act to consolidate and amend the law relating to companies. Then only section 1 is starting, and here they call it what? Short title. It may be called the Companies Act. Are you following, guys? Next, one more example. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. This full paragraph is called a preamble of the act. Introduction. Why I have this law? Look at this. For reorganization and insolvency of resolution of corporate persons, partnership and individuals in a time-bound manner. Why I have this law? Read the whole thing. Purpose of the law. Putting the purpose is called preamble. Are you following, guys? Now my question is, can I use preamble for interpretation of law? Can I use preamble? I can use for understanding sections better, but can it override section? No. Again, preamble and section number cannot, be below the preamble. Section number overrides preamble. Look at this. The preamble of a statute is a part of an enactment that can legitimately be used for constructing the act. However, the preamble does not override the plain provisions of the act. Are you all following, guys? If I give an example, IBC is for recovering money. Somewhere I have a doubt. Can I recover assets or only money? Then go to the preamble. Look at this. Preamble says Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, reorganization of value of assets of such person to promote entrepreneurship, availability of credit, balance of interest in all the stakeholders and matters connected. So when there is a doubt in the provision as to why I have this, I will go read this. It's like my FAQ. Purpose of the act, if I don't know, when you're reading the section, you will go read this. That's my preamble. Are you following, guys? Next, quickly I'll go. Heading and title of a chapter. Let me show you here itself. Heading and title of a chapter. In Companies Act, if you see, how many chapters we have? 10 chapters. Chapter 1, preliminary. Chapter 1 is preliminary. Then if I go to chapter 2, same order how we are doing. Chapter 2, incorporation of company and matters incidental thereunder. Now go back and read what they are saying. Headings and title of a chapter. Can I use for interpretation? Chapter of the dividend provision 123 to 127, chapter title is dividend. Can I use that word for interpretation of provisions? Yes, but it cannot override what, guys? Section. In this all same principle, guys. Can it be used? I don't want to read the dabba. Let me read my simple notes. Look at this. Headings and titles can legitimately be referred to for the purpose of constructing the enactment of its parts. May be noted that headings may sometimes be referred to know the scope of the preamble where there is an ambiguity. In Companies Act in 200 series, we have a chapter called inspection. Inspection of what? Inspection of company. Am I going to inspect your house? This is Companies Act. So if you go to preamble, you will know this is for companies, so it's for inspection of companies. A heading cannot override a section, but it can throw light on the section to give a better clarification. Next, we have something called marginal notes. What is marginal notes? This is the law which goes to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and President sign. After President signs, MCA in the official gazette will add a few notes called marginal notes. Today practically very less used. This note can I use for interpretation? Some reference notes or something. Can I use for interpretation? To use for interpretation, those who are thinking of the answer, it should be law of the land. Law of the land means these three people should give consent. Without them giving consent, if I itself had simply marginal notes in the side for my margin reference, that cannot be used for construction because president has not signed. He has signed for chapter name, he has signed for provision, but he has not signed for others. Are you following, guys? Look at this. Marginal notes. Just going there. These are not part of the enactment, for they were not present when the act was passed in the parliament, but inserted after the act has been passed. Hence, they are not an aid to construction. Can you see the logic, guys? It's added after the law is made. Law is made, then I added that. Clear? Yes. I will show you. This is how the Companies Act looks now. Every act will look like this. Marginal notes are basically somewhere in the margin, somewhere over here, or footnotes. More than footnotes, it's only in the side, like a paragraph explaining or giving reference to a few things like this. This and all is part of act. Here something new will come. Those things you can't use because that never got president sign. You are adding after president sign. Clear? So now coming back to internal aids. Super. Now I'll be quick, guys. I'll be extremely quick. Now you itself know the answer. Quickly. So for exam viewpoint, can you tell me, guys? Long title, can I use for interpretation? Can I use long title for interpretation, guys? Yes. Can it override section? No. Next, preamble, can I use for interpretation? Yes, to understand the object. Can preamble override section? No. Next, headings and title of chapter, can I use for interpretation? Yes. Can it override section? No. Next, marginal notes, can I use for interpretation? No. So I can't even override the section with marginal notes. Are you following, guys? Same logic. Illustrations. Illustrations in the book. Companies Act sometimes will have illustrations. You will find a lot of illustrations in Indian Contract Act and Sale of Goods Act. We don't have illustration. One illustration, just checking. Okay, super. Section 325 of the Companies Act has one sum itself in the act. Are you following, guys? So in this case, to explain the section 325, which talks about some winding up procedures, for this one-page paragraph, they gave some number. Now, this one-page paragraph and this illustration mean the same, no conflict. But one-page paragraph means something else. Illustration means something else. Which will override? Section will override the illustration. Sir, can I use the illustration to understand the provision of law? Can I use this illustration to understand the above provisions? Yes. So now read this. What they are saying. Illustrations do form part of the statute and are considered to be relevant and value in construing the text. However, illustrations cannot have the effect of modifying the language of the section nor curtail or expand the ambit of the section. In other words, illustration can be used for understanding the law, but it can't widen the scope or narrow the scope. Correct? Look at this, what they are saying. Effect of modifying the language of the section and can neither curtail nor expand the ambit of the section. Are you following, guys? That means what is saying? You can't expand or narrow section quickly. Sir, exam what remember? Just like previous. Illustration can I use? Yes, to understand the section better, but you can't widen or narrow down the thing. Schedules, same thing. What is schedules? We saw Companies Act as schedules of Schedule 7, CSR, we will see. Schedule 3, format of balance sheet. So, if you look at the Companies Act, when the Companies Act started itself, in the first page only, they would have mentioned not the first page, after the last section, after the last section, they would have mentioned the number of schedules here, 7 schedules. Schedule 3 is balance sheet format. Like that, we have schedule 7 is CSR activities. Like these schedules versus section numbers. Who will prevail? It's like a fight. To understand section number, I can use schedule, no problem. But if there's a conflict between schedule and section number, who will prevail, guys? Always section number will prevail over anything else in internal aids. Look at schedules. For the purpose of construction, however, the expression in the schedule cannot control or prevail over the expression of enactment. The enactment shall always prevail. Are you following, guys? Now, I am not going to teach you. You tell me what will be there for explanation. Can you guess? Can I use explanation to understand section? Sir, I don't know what is explanation, but you simply try. Can I use explanation to understand section? Yes. Can it override section? No. Look at this. Explanation at times is to explain. Sometimes when person reading law might have some doubt. So, explanation is to explain the meaning of certain words and phrases that are used in the section, and explanation may be added or included within the scope. Let me show you real life example. I know it might get a little dry at this point. Internal aids is like that. If I go to Companies Act and if I search for next, the interpretation of deeds is interesting. So if I go search for explanation, we have 107 results. Super. If I take for example page 39, look at this. Shelf prospectus. You are all aware of the provision. What is the shelf prospectus? They have to file information memorandum, then 1 year from the date of first offer, all of that. Then below this shelf prospectus section, which you know, they are giving an explanation. For the purpose of this section, the term shelf prospectus means a prospectus in which securities or class of securities include therein issued for subscription in one or more issues with or without issuing further prospectus. He is explaining what is shelf prospectus because this may not be defined in section 2. Maybe it's not defined in section 2. For example, if I go to section 33, look at this beautifully. I can give you the logic how to read law. Section 31 has explanation of telling what is shelf prospectus. But if I go to section 33, issue of application forms, here they talk about abridged prospectus. Abridged prospectus. But in this section, they don't define what is abridged prospectus. Why? It's already defined into subsection 1. So I don't need an explanation as to what is abridged prospectus. Are you getting the connect, guys? Why we did Law, Companies Act and we are doing this? So, exam and all, can I write examples? Yes, nobody is stopping you. That's why I'm giving you multiple examples you can write. So, for exam, what should I do? Explanation should normally be read in harmony and should clear any ambiguity in section. If I have any doubt in section, it will clear ambiguity. It should not be construed to widen the scope of section. Just like illustration helps you understand the section, it can't widen the scope of the section. Are you following, guys? Clear? This you already know. Can you guess? Read the statute as a whole is which rule? I'll give a clue. It's a rule in primary rules. Read the statute as a whole is one of the primary rules. If you want, I'll scroll up and show you that rule also. Which one? Rule of harmonious construction and read the statute as a whole is same. He's saying it is the elementary principle that construction of statute is to be made for all parts taken together and not of one part. Read the statute as a whole. You can't read 40 sections in Companies Act and tell, sir, I am expert in Companies Act. You need to know all the 470 sections. Then only you can do the construction of any law. Don't read the law half and tell you know. Read them in harmony with other provisions. Are you following, guys? We just have 2 more internal aids. One is definition. You and I know what is definition very well. Section number 2. There are two types of definitions which this standard uses. Like this interpretation, I don't call it a separate act, it's a standard benchmark interpretation of statutes, very simple. We have three types of definitions: means, includes, means and includes. What is the power? Which is powerful, which is not powerful? We need to know, okay, because it's going to be used left, right, center, okay. Veg food means food from plants, okay. Veg food includes fish, means includes, which is wider in scope, So, means only, whenever the law uses the term means, it gives a logical definition. It gives what, guys? Logical definition. This means what? Let me show an example. In Companies Act, if you see, if I use the term means, abridged prospectus means a memorandum containing salient features. Salient features means summary of all the points. Accounting standard means standards issued by ICA or for class of companies. But includes is the dangerous definition. If I write veg food includes fish, that means fish is veg. If I say veg food includes fish and chips, it includes fish and chips. Fish and chicken, it includes chicken. Are you following? Now the deadly combination is means and includes. I want to include everything. So I will define what it is plus include whatever I think which is not included. So in Income Tax Act, in taxes paid on income. In GST Act, taxes paid on supply of goods. So the definition of supply, if you remember, it is means and includes. Because I need to include everything possible. Then only if supply is more, tax is more. Income tax also, the definition is income means and includes. India is the only country which uses means and includes. More I can include. Because initially in income tax, income may not include cryptocurrency transactions. They amended. Income, the definition of income includes transactions, profits from crypto. So I can include whatever I want even without logic. Are you following, guys? Are you getting it, guys? If you take another example, we saw means. Let me take an definition for includes. Okay, this, when you do deposit chapter, you will get beautiful clarity. That time I will connect interpretation of statutes. I will keep going back to this chapter. Deposit includes any receipt of money by way of loan. When we go there, you will understand. Definitely you will understand, but I'm just trying. Okay, this is beautiful. Something you can connect, because those who finish deposit chapter and you are watching this, you will get the connect now. But for us, we are watching in this flow. Dividend includes interim dividend. Got it, Nova? I am not defining interim dividend. I am not saying interim dividend is a dividend declared between two AGMs or during the year. I am just saying dividend includes interim dividend. Are you following, guys? Clear? So these are the types of definitions. We have means, includes, means and includes. Then we have two more definitions called ambiguous definitions and definitions subject to contrary context. Here what they are saying, sometimes we may find that the definition section may itself be ambiguous. Ambiguous means what? Confusing. So if it's confusing, if something is confusing separately, how to clear the confusion? Read with the other things. Okay, for example, You purchased ingredients to cook biryani. There you found one leaf. Hey, what is this leaf? I don't know. What is this small thing? I don't know. But when you use it in biryani as a whole, now you know, oh, this means this is mainly put in the ending to give flavor. That masala leaf. Okay, now I understand. Otherwise, you won't know what it is. Correct? So sometimes when a definition is read separately, it may be ambiguous, confusing. We don't have such a Companies Act. Everything is clear. But if there's a confusion, read the statute as a whole. It's clear. Are you following, guys? Definition subject to a contrary context, same. Sometimes try to understand the definition in the context where it is used. It will make better sense. Where a word is defined to bear a number of inclusive meanings, plant and machinery. Plant has multiple meanings. Which meaning to give for the word plant? It is the inclusive meanings. The sense in which the word is used in a particular provision must be ascertained from the context of the scheme of the act. Which context I used, I will understand. Sometimes some friend will scold something. You will fight. I'll tell, hey, I just told sarcastically like a joke. Look at the context. I didn't mean offensively. Looking at a fat person and telling, hey, today he ate pizza, gone. I didn't try to body shame somebody. Simply for joke I told that time. If we have that relationship, he will understand. Look at the context. I didn't try to offensively hurt you. I simply told as a joke. Are you following, guys? Like that. Last one, in internal aids, we have something called proviso. What is proviso? Exception. No. Proviso and exception are not the same. Proviso and exception are not the same. Okay. Let me give you an example over here. Okay. And let me go to the Companies Act. Let this be the last concept. You will find so many provisos. Okay, let me use from the book itself to save time. Okay, if you see, whenever law uses the word provided that, proviso, provided that, if you look at the law, in many places, we will use the word proviso. For example, look at this. Provided, provided. Okay. Where is that word provided? Okay. Financial year definition says they are using provided further. So, when the word provided comes, there is a section. Additionally, there is another proviso. So, for example, I want to take 2 subsection 40, which defines the word financial statement. You will understand this easily. Okay. Financial statement in relation to a company includes balance sheet, profit and loss account, cash flow statement, statement of change in equity, explanatory statement. This is included. Provided that the financial statements with respect to one-person company alone and small company and dormant company may not include cash flow. So, from a group of a main provision, only for a certain class of companies, I am saying one thing alone you need not follow. Now you come and read this. Okay. Read this. Where is it? Proviso. Yeah. The normal function of a proviso is to accept something out of the enactment to qualify something stated in the enactment which would be within its purview. Usually a proviso is embedded in the main body of the section. Within the section, we have a proviso and becomes an integral part of it. Provisos are included to begin with the word, provided that. I gave the same example of dividend removes, like financial statement removes applicability of cash flow. Same dividend, I gave one more example. Provided that no company shall declare dividend unless carried forward previous losses and depreciation are set off. It's a condition for you to declare dividend, you have to do this. For a one-person company, financial statements, no cash flow. Now come to exception. Exception says the entire section is not applicable for you. Look at the difference. Look at this difference. In financial statement definition, entire section is exempt of a small company. No. Still small company and 1% company should prepare. Balance sheet should prepare. Profit loss account should prepare. Statement of changes also. Only cash flow is exempt. But section is applicable. In exception, full section itself is not applicable. Look at this. Exception intends to restrain the enacting clause to a particular case. Example, rules of declaring dividend. We saw 3 rules. If it's a 100% subsidiary of government company, these rules are not applicable. That means 100% subsidiary company of a government need not follow all 3 rules. Can you see difference, guys? Let's go to Companies Act and take an exception. We will see in 67, we will see financial assistance, we will see. Okay. In many sections you will see, guys. No worries, I will again see what I will do when I keep taking Companies Act. Now the interpretation of statutes is done. I will keep giving examples. We will see many exceptions where for private company they need not follow this procedure of giving financial assistance to employees. They are exempted from that. So full section is not applicable for private company. You will see in some cases this section is fully not applicable to private company exception. Only a part of the section is excluded if some conditions are met. It becomes proviso. Can you see the difference, guys? Proviso and exception. Hello, are you getting the small line of difference? Vignesh, sure. Last one is called saving clause. Okay, let me give a simple example. What is saving clause? I will give a classic example when we go to dividends chapter, but now let me give a simple example. Let's go to foundation. You went to PVR and you got a movie ticket. Okay. On the date of the movie, flood came, so movie is cancelled, ticket becomes no use. So this contract with the company is void. Now you should get money refund. When I go to get refund, PVR is telling, hey, it's a void contract. Ticket is of no valid. Terms and conditions I won't follow. I won't give refund. No. Within the ticket, there will be a clause which says, if the movie is cancelled, you will get refund. That's the saving clause for you. Saving you from the liability or obligations. Are you understanding, guys? Now read. Saving clause is used to preserve from destruction certain rights, remedies or privileges already existing in prior statutes. I'll give you a much better example. VAT, GST. Okay. In VAT, I was supposed to get a refund of 10,000 rupees. Before I got the refund, VAT law was scrapped. Now GST came. Can I say no refund for you? No. GST law will say you have to get the refund from previous law, saving clause. Saving me from the previous act which went away. We saw this in General Clause Act also. Following, guys, a saving clause enables the repealed law, VAT, to continue in force for the parts that are necessary. That is refund of VAT. Are you following, guys? Are you understanding? With this, we are done in this act, in this standard, in this guide, in this interpretation. We are done with rules of interpretation, primary and secondary. We are also done with aids of interpretation, internal and external aids. Are you all following, guys? What is left? Interpretation of deeds and documents. Any doubts still here? Hello? Okay. Interpretation of deeds and documents is just the 15 minutes concept. You look out for that in the next video. You look out for that. Next session we will discuss small 15 minutes. We will close with that. So otherwise we are done with interpretation of statutes. One more small section we will do in the next class. Thank you, guys. See you all in the next class. Hi guys. Now what we will do in law, we were discussing in the previous session interpretation of statutes, where we basically discussed first two rules of interpretation, primary and secondary rules. When the chapter started, these terms look new for you, but now When I say rule of literal construction or rule of Hayden's rule, you are able to understand what that rule says. Hayden's rules means correcting the mischief, edges them generous, lion, tiger, all of that. Okay, that is the concept. Similarly, we saw in the last class aids of interpretation, internal and external aids. We saw external in detail, internal also in detail. We ended with the definition section, which said means, includes, all of that. We have a last separate component in this chapter called interpretation of deeds and document. Sir, what do you mean by interpretation of deeds and documents? Only half a page you have kept. Why is this a separate topic? What is the implication of this? So far what we learned, interpretation of statutes, rules and aids of interpretation is to interpret law, GST Act, any act, Income Tax Act, Companies Act, this, that, FEMA Act, all of that, following guys. But beyond that, sometimes people draft their own agreements. For example, landlord and tenant. If you go to a house for rent, do you make an oral agreement or do you make a written agreement? Written agreement. This also is an agreement which is registered in law. So this agreement, how do I interpret? Is the question. Are you following guys? This is not law which is going through the parliament or president. Humans, between them, they make some agreements, a contract act agreement. How to understand that? Let me give a classic example. Let's say after qualifying, Anjana decided she wants to leave Chennai first thing. You are from Chennai only, yeah? You are from Coimbatore. So she decided she wants to leave Coimbatore and leave Chennai also. She shifted to Mumbai for a job after clearing CA. You can easily get, if you are a CA, anywhere in India you can get. She went to Mumbai. She got a job in Aditya Birla Group. Okay, for starting salary is 2 lakhs per month. First attempt can I get? Yes. They take only first attempt in final. So she got the job, 2 lakhs per month. She settled in Mumbai. She wanted to live there. She was searching. She found a house. She found a house for rent. She wanted an apartment. She wanted to stay alone. Single bedroom apartment. Rent was 50,000 rupees. Mumbai is very expensive guys. Single bedroom itself will be 50k. Sometimes even more than that. Okay. So she was there. Then the landlord, we will keep landlord as Dhyaneshwar. Okay. Dhyaneshwar was the landlord. He told, see, this is just one of my house. I have many houses in the building. I have a lot of business. You make the agreement by yourself. I will just sign it. So she had to make that agreement. So she was that time searching how to make agreement because she's a CA. She doesn't know how to make an agreement. Accounts or audit she will do, correct? So she has to look for an advocate. There she found Vignesh. Somewhere online he put, I am an advocate or practicing advocate, fresher, or he's doing internship. Okay. So she asked him to do it. He told, no, my firm is very expensive firm. We will charge you 40,000 rupees per agreement. She didn't have so much money just for an agreement. Then she was searching and then she found, let's say, next to you, what's her name? Sorry? Vaidishwari. Okay. She found Vaidishwari. Vaidishwari told, hey, I know to make agreement. Then Anjana asked, what is your qualification? She told, I am studying law. I am in my second year of law college. So what's the summary guys? Anjana is now in Mumbai. She got a house where she has to stay. Dhaneshwar needs agreement. So finally she found Vaidishwari, who's second year of law. Vaidishwari told, I will do it for just 2,000 rupees. Anjana also was happy. She made the agreement. In that, Dhaneshwar kept some conditions. No pets allowed in the house. Only vegetarian food. Okay. He kept some conditions to put in the house. No pets allowed. Then he also told, no, like near the house, there is one generator for current if it goes to generator. Near the generator, don't keep plants for safety purpose. He said, don't do all of that. Like that, he gave some points. Vaidishwari also drafted the agreement and she gave it to Anjana. Anjana sent it to landlord. Landlord also signed it. That's it. 1 month got over. Anjana paid the rent of 50,000 rupees. Dhaneshwar called and told, pay the rent. She said, I just transferred 50k. Then she said, no, you didn't pay full amount. You paid only 10% of amount. 10% of amount. Then he sent photo of the agreement. In photo of the agreement, what was there? What is the amount, guys? 50,000. In words, she wrote 50,000, but in amount, she wrote 5 lakhs. Vaidishwari, second year law college. So, in turn, she wrote like this. Anjana also didn't see. Landlord also saw, but he signed and gave. So, he's saying, you paid me 50,000. What about the balance? 4,50,000. Otherwise, get out of the house. Janeshwar told, I want the money. What Anjana will do? Will she pay? But she signed. She signed for a 5 lakhs. If this goes to court, how do I interpret this document? Are you following up? Not just this document. For example, you go watch a movie in PVR. The ticket you get is a document. It's a document that made in the ticket they will mention no water bottle allowed. If movie gets cancelled in half, we will not give refund. Like that, sometimes there will be unreasonable conditions and all. These kind of trade agreements, when you are joining a class, in some classes they will tell sign terms and agreements. We will sign without seeing. Then they will tell no, you have to pay extra fees. Like that, all these things are there, correct? So what is happening? Because of all this confusion, she went to the court. Court is saying, we have a guidance for this. Interpretation of deeds and documents. Here, there are 3 sub-provisions. How do you interpret deeds and documents? There are 3 sub-provisions. These are documents humans make. One is golden rule of interpretation. Next is elementary rule of interpretation. Last one is conflict resolution. I'll give you one example for each. Sir, what about the house example? That example only I'll just extend it. Sorry. So what is happening now? Same example continued. There is a mismatch between number and amount, correct? So what law says? You tell me, guys, common sense, what will be the answer? Ideally, what you should tell in this case? You will tell the owner, see Janeshwar, Vaidishwari drafted. He is now only entering second year of law college. That's why mistake came. Please understand. He is saying, no, I am a strict officer. You have to sign. So now what to do? This golden rule says, when you are making or when you are reading a document, give importance to the person who framed it. Because it's not law. Look at what the law is saying. Golden rule, if I go there, they are saying first, anybody with common sense, what they will tell? No, it is not 5 lakhs, it is 50,000. That time what they will tell? Apply some logic. For a house, she's staying single bedroom house. So let's say 700 square feet is the house. For a 700 square feet house in Mumbai, 50,000 rupees is reasonable rent. Read the whole document, then it will make sense to you. If you just read that one line, it will be confusing. Correct? So golden rule gives 3 principles. First, it states that the document has to be read as a whole. Read the whole document. Then you will get some clarity. Okay, how will I pay 5 lakhs rent for one small house? Correct? Second, the circumstance in which the particular words are used is to be considered. The circumstance here is, by mistake 10 came extra. She didn't write 5 lakhs. Correct? 10 came. Give importance to the circumstance where the word is used. Are you following with the other? They are saying apply doctrine of contemporaneo exposito. Give importance to the context where it is used. And they are mainly saying focus on Vaidishwari. Who is the person who made that document? Look at this. The status, she's an intern. And training of the parties, internship she's doing, second year college. Using the words have to be taken into the consideration. The experience of the person. Same thing if Vignesh did, who has that so much experience, it is different. This is a fresher. That's her first agreement. She didn't tell you. That's why she charged 2,000 rupees. Are you following up? So they are saying the golden rule of construction of document, 3 things. Sir, what should I remember for golden rule? First, read the whole document as a whole. Should I mug up this concept? If they ask also what is golden rule, they have never asked what is golden rule in interpretation. They will ask this interpretation of deeds and documents. You have to write all three concepts. So golden rule we are finishing first. What is that? Read the document as a whole. See the circumstance where the word is used. Give importance to the skill or experience of the person framing the document. That's it. Your rocket notes, Gen Z notes, I don't know if you're doing it, guys. It's simple. How should my Gen Z notes be? Golden rule. Hyphen, 3 points. Read document as whole. Give importance to circumstance. What is the third one? Give importance to the experience of person or the skill and training of parties. That's it. So court will tell, giving importance to all these things, Anjana has to pay rent of only 50,000. Are you following up? Clear, guys? Next, let's go to elementary rule. Next example for that. Same document. Dhyaneshwar told, no pets allowed. Correct? No pets, cat, dog, nothing allowed. Dhyaneshwar told, but Anjana likes pet dogs, pet cat. So what she told, Vaidishwari, in document is of 3 pages, for example, rental agreement, page 1, page 2, page 3. So she smartly planned. In first page, she wrote no pet. Second page, she wrote pet allowed. Third page, sign. Are you following up? So when Dhyaneshwar told, hey, why are there dogs in the house? She's saying, go to page 2, read para 4, you will find pets are allowed. Then he will see, hey, no pet, conflict. What to do? Similar point we saw in rules, external, we saw external aids, earlier and later acts. Remember, we saw RGDBFI and SURFACE Act. If 2 acts are conflicting, follow the whichever is later. Remember, guys, whichever is later. If there are 2 acts conflicting, see whichever is later. Keeping that logic in mind. Now, 2 different pages. Which one to follow? You tell me, guys. Page 1 now, no pet, or page 2, pet allowed? Page 2. Everybody are saying page 2. But as a user, first I will see this no pet in first page and I will leave it. Why will I read page 2? Because everything belongs to the same document. So here the law says whichever is first. Whichever is written first. If you want the logic, I will tell the difference. When it is between 2 acts, one act of 2002, one act of 2010, which one to follow? Act of 2010, because this act knows about that. But the same logic in a document, there is no different year. Both the entire document is written on the same day, not even same month, the same day. That means the user writing this, knowing this only, he wrote this. And as human, we see newspaper, you read first page or last page? First page, then last page. Middle do you read? No. So they're saying everybody will read first and they will end it. Terms and conditions, first condition they will sign. This is not about different years. For my, see here why there's a conflict in 2 acts? Because there's an 8-year gap. Concept can change based on economy. Here it can't change. It's everything in the same document, same contract. Correct? So here they're saying whichever is first, that is elementary rule. Sorry, that is conflict resolution. So I'm talking about not elementary, guys. Sorry. We are discussing what, guys, now? Conflict. This is only conflict, correct? There is a conflict over here. So you will try to resolve the conflict by reading whichever is first. But the interpretation also says, let's say 2 brothers are fighting. You are fighting with your sibling. What do you do first? You make the conflict big or you try to solve it? Big. But I'm saying long term, you want to make it big or solve it after a point. So any problem you can leave brother fight. Any problem you have in life, you want to make it big or solve. So we first try to solve it. Then only we will look for other resolutions. Same way here, if there is a conflict, what I just told you now, conflict, they are saying first effort must be made to resolve the conflict. Dhyaneshwar and Anjana should discuss. Okay, we'll come to an agreement. Weekly pet will be there. I will keep only 1 dog instead of 4 dogs. Like that, some resolution they should keep. Not able to resolve. The earlier clause, first page, will override the later because the entire document is written on the same day. So what you write first stands first. Are you following, guys? That's why in our material, both these I gave on the same page. Earlier, this one is the earlier law. Here the opposite. These two are opposite principles. You should not get confused in exam. Law means whichever is later. Document means whichever is first. Are you going to mug up? Please don't mug up. Understand logic. I never mug up. I just think of logic. That's it. Clear, guys? What rule is this? Conflict resolution, not elementary rule. Okay. We are yet to see that. Clear, guys? So again, quickly, guys. Interpretation of deeds and documents. What is golden rule? Document to be read as a whole. Elementary rule. Yet to see. Conflict. Earlier prevails over later. Last. Dhaneshwar told one more thing. Don't keep plants near generator. So in the document she wrote, no plants should be kept near plant and machinery. Are you following, guys? She wrote like this. Now, is the meaning of this plant and this plant same? Even though it's the same word? Not the same. Correct? Why? If I read the word plant only, it can be missionary plant or it can be rose plant. How to take the meaning of this independently? If I just read the word plant, I won't know. I should read along with the whole context. Correct? If somebody is asking me doubt, let's say Vignesh is asking doubt, sir, what do you mean by no plants should be kept near plant and machinery? What I will tell, go to LKG. LKG, this meaning everybody will know. It's basic English. No plant should be kept near plant and machinery. LKG is which class? Elementary school. Correct? So, basic elementary rule first. Read it properly. Read the whole thing. Don't read one line and get excited first. Read the whole thing. Elementary rule of construction. So, in exam also you should apply this. When anybody is studying some reading question in exam, the elementary rule for you is first read the question fully. When I am doing accounts, MCQ, I will immediately go to conclusion. Read all 4 options. Then you take a decision. Look at this. Elementary rule of construction, that the same word plant generally cannot have 2 different meanings in the same document unless the context compels the adoption of such a course. Go back to this. Generally the word plant meaning is same unless the context is different. Are you following, guys? Yes, are you following? Hello. So what I should remember for exam? Interpretation of deeds and documents. We have 3 concepts, sub-concepts under that. What are the 3 sub-concepts, guys? Golden rule, elementary rule, conflict resolution. Quickly, for exam, what to remember? Don't remember the rent example and all. Golden rule, 3 things. Read the document as a whole. Understand the circumstance where the word is used. Training of the person who did. These 3 learn fully. Elementary rule. If there is a word used, generally that word should have the same meaning. You can't tell plant in first page is different from plant in third page. But based on circumstance, the meaning of the same word can change. Are you following? Elementary, basic. You should not ask us doubt. Read with the context, you will understand. Last one, conflict resolution. If there is a conflict, try to solve. If you are not able to solve, whatever is first will override whatever is later. Interpretation of deeds and documents. If they have asked in exam in the past, what do you mean by interpretation of deeds and documents? That's it. 4-mark question. Write all 3. Full 4 marks you will get. This question they asked in the old syllabus 5 years back. When in May 2018 and November 2018 exams, when the old, that time it was new syllabus, like how we have new, that time they asked this. When this new syllabus came in 2018 for the first time, they asked, again now new syllabus. Repeat the loop. So again, after that they never tested this. So it becomes important. They will again start from scratch for new syllabus for us. So this question, you mark this interpretation of deeds and documents, mark it as important for the exams that you are going to write in the year 2024. Somebody watching my class in Telegram, if you are in 2026, don't tell I told you to study all this. Okay. First of all, nobody will watch in that year, but just in case. Fine. Clear, guys. Many times students, with this we are done with. interpretation of statutes. That's it. Thank you. But one thing I want to share, because our class recording came yesterday, one student called. Generally, students will buy and they will share with friends. Even though purchase one recording, 2-3 students will watch together. Yesterday, one student called and told honestly, sir, I am being honest with you, sir. Me and my friends are staying in hostel. We want to buy your accounts and law class. We will buy one time, but 3 of us want to watch. Can you send us 3 books? Directly he asked. If I say no, what he'll do? He'll do that only, no. I said, okay, fine. I'll give you access for one. You pay for one student. He said, I want 3 books. I said, okay, book cost alone can you give? I asked. He said, okay. Book alone, I'm sending 3 copies for a student. At least I was happy. One student called and told, honestly, sir, 3 of us are going to share. We need 3 copies. We will pay you book cost. I said, good. All the best. Study. So that's it with that interpretation of statutes. Today's agenda for law is done. See you all in the next topic.